Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Norm Merrick Show. Host Rob Norm, a lazy guy who didn't stream all weekend. What's up with that? What's up with that? I intended to try to do at least one stream on my phone, but it didn't work out. I was up having fun with family the whole weekend, so I said, I'll just let it go. Did I get the call? We have to see. By the way, not burying the lead. I mean Israel. I just didn't know if YouTube would allow me to put it in the title. Yes. Did I find out who's getting paid to push Israeli propaganda? We shall see. We'll see. I did. It's me. No. But we're going to talk. We're going to talk about that. Why not? Let's jump back into everyone's favorite topic, right? The only topic that matters. Can we get back into Epstein? That's how I feel about this topic. It's all right. I got to say, man, I feel like my life hit a big reset in a good way. I'll explain why. I got this computer coming. I had this trip planned for a while. Now, I am going to be traveling a lot here, spring and summer, but it's almost all good stuff. I am going to be going to DebateCon down in Dallas, so that'll be cool. I'll hopefully see a lot of you there. There's one or two other projects that will involve me, like, actually streaming that I'll be traveling for, doing events, so that'll be cool. And then I have a wedding that I'm going to be in, and a bachelor party that I'll have to travel for, which I'm very excited. Some of my best friends is getting married. I could not be happier for him. He's a great dude. So when I say bachelor party, everyone's like, oh, I assure you the bachelor party is probably going to be us going to like a Yankees game. He's a big Yankees fan, so we'll probably end up in New York, which I've never been to New York City. So I'm working on my, becoming bilingual. Put your best answers in the chat. What language should I learn to communicate in New York City if I go? I'm assuming English won't cut it, so whatever Mamdani speaks, is that what I need to learn? But it was nice. I got this trip out of the way. It was a lot of fun. I had a blast this week. Computer will be coming hopefully in the next week or so. I'm going to start doing some more stuff. Farsi, Chinese, Latin, Hebrew. Hebrew's always good, right? Yeah. So, start doing some stuff health-wise, redoubling down here on the channel. Still going to have trouble doing those. Don't go behind any curtains. Got it. Still going to have trouble doing the call-in shows, which we'll come to a solution with that eventually. But as it is right now, it's a shame. It's one of my favorite parts of the show to do, but because of people directing trolls at me that are intentionally trying to get the channel crushed, then I could do in the short term for that. So I just made a huge mistake right there. There's energy rush. It's orange, the flavor I put in, and I just brushed my teeth. There's nothing worse with orange flavoring after you just brush your teeth. What a mistake. Boo! Stupid Rob. Anyways, it was a fun week. We went down for my brother-in-law's truck show. He did very well. While we were down there, one day we took Hank to Dave & Buster's. And I have a lot to say about Dave & Buster's. And this might be a remove this video as soon as it's done. Not because the Israel portion, because the Dave & Buster's portion. Let's just say I wasn't happy with some of the folks at Dave & Buster, and I'm tired. You have to be silent in person, but I don't have to be silent here, so I'm going to bitch away. And just other problems that I have, and why I don't like being in more city-like areas. We were near Louisville, so that was, and then we went to a cave in Louisville. It was neat. I forget the name of it. I thought my back's been screwed up, so we went to a cave that specifically had like a tram tour. And I thought it was going to be like, stalactites and all that stuff. But it wasn't. It was a man-made cave, and it was actually very interesting. It used to be a limestone mine until like the 70s, and then this dude bought it, and it became like businesses that want to store things, store it there because it's very temperature controlled. And then they decided to start doing these tours, and they put in like a big zipline course and all of that stuff. Yeah, the Louisville Mega Cave, that was the name of it. It was a lot of fun. My son loved it. There was a part where they talked about how it was, at one point it was going to be one of the largest nuclear fallout shelters during the Cuban Missile Crisis. It was supposed to fit 74,000 people. I thought it was very interesting. But we'll start talking about that, and then we're going to get into the Israel stuff. Then I'll talk about Dave and Buster's. And the Israel shit's just going to piss everyone off again. I don't give a fuck anymore. But the cave, the best part of it was at the end, and I've been in a lot of places that do this, but my son just started getting into this. Like, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. He's really into rocks. So, like, he likes just neat rocks that you'd find around. But he also likes buying, like, the gemstone kit. So, like, we bought this, for Christmas, I think it was. Or maybe it was his birthday. But it's like, I don't know. It almost feels like plaster. But you chip away at it with, like, a little fake pickaxe. And then it gives you a book with the different types of gemstones. It could be, like, quartz or, And he loved it. Yes, he got this giant smoky quartz. Well, at the mine, you get the big bag of dirt that's got like the gemstones in it, and then they got the little like panhand, like where you put the thing in the water and you shake it around, and he loved it, man. Did that for like an hour. He came back, this huge bag of rocks that he got. Loves it, man. I thought it was cool. I love watching him like getting his hands dirty doing stuff like that. It was a lot of fun, and so. Props up. And if you're like in a family, if you have kids and stuff that like zip lining, or they had this like kind of like an obstacle course, like with rope bridges and stuff, they had stuff like that. It was very neat. I thought it was neat. Teach their own. But here's the interesting part though. Our tour guide's name was Ezra, and we're pretty sure Ezra wasn't born an Ezra. Maybe Ezra was born a Sarah or a Lisa. But now Sarah or Lisa is Ezra. But I'm not sure. So my son is learning about cave stuff the whole time. And the rest of us are like, is that an Adam's apple? What do we got? What we got going on? I was trying to ask questions to try to get some more information, to decipher what's going on. I was like, how old's that? Interesting. The person was fine. Don't get me wrong. Very informative. We had fun. And it was actually like an adventure. I like to think it was just a normal lady that was like, I'll just claim I'm a man just to keep the adults entertained. Like, what's happening here? So it was entertaining. I was amused the whole time. I was like, what's going on here? I thought Ezra was a chick's name. So I was like, oh, male to female. And my wife's like, no, Ezra's a guy's name. It's female to male. Or maybe none of them. Maybe it was a male or a female. I don't know. The options were all over the place. And it was just enough that you were like, I could see it any way. I could see it's a male, I could see female, or I could see male to female or female to male. It was very, it was great. It was like, my son was on a cave trip, and I was like on like, one of those murder mystery, except instead of a murder mystery, it was just like, what is the biological sex of the person driving our tram? No, not Jewish. No, it was, I don't know, maybe they were Jewish too. That I hadn't even considered. Had not considered. So, I don't know. And then at the end, Ezra, he, she, they, them, Zezer, whatever, was like, and again, I have no bad things to say about Ezra. Fantastic tram driver and mine host. So Ezra, if you're listening, if you're a fan of the show, you did great, whatever your biological sex is. Don't get me wrong. But at the end, Ezra says, we're doing a thing on TripAdvisor, so be sure to give good marks. And let them know that Ezra was your host. But if you didn't have a good time, then just say it was Patrick. And we were like, ooh, is Patrick a dead name? Or is it another tram driver? We don't know, right? And Bat Fricker from the old SNL skit, thanks for the $2, says it's Pat. It was very much, I'm telling you though, now I'm very interested in this, the psychology of this. Because how would you act? For me, it was like a mystery to solve. I don't see the downside. Like, so if I'm running, like around here, we have a state park called Cook Forest. And there's all kinds you could hire people to take you like on nature hikes. There are people that you could rent horses and they'll take you on a guide with horses, go-karts, all kinds of stuff you could do. I'm thinking if I own one of them, I'm telling all my employees, you don't have to change your looks. You don't have to change your clothing. Just go with an ambiguous sounding name, right? Like if you look like me, just be like, my name's Eliza. And just have people be like, Eliza, what the fuck is going on? And don't say another word about it. Just be completely normal, right? And it's like an entertain. I think people will be like, they'll go on your little horse ride thing, and then they'll go back and tell your friends, like, you got to see this fucking guy. He looks like a guy. He says his name was Eliza. We don't know what the fuck's going on. You got to go. I think it would drum up business, personally. Now, you don't want to act like a crazy trans person. That's no good. That'll chase people away. But just throw it out there. Like, just leave it hang there. Don't give maybe give a few little hints, right? Be like, this park coming around here, this is one of our favorite spots. You can see the river over there. Of course, my dad never came to any of my games. He was never happy with how I was born. Anyways, just throw a little something like that out there and get people to be like, ooh, would you hear that? I think it'd be great. It's great fun. I would tune in for that. It's sort of, it's like breaking kayfabe a little. I think it's good. So there you go. If you own a business, I'm just saying, consider it. Now, I don't encourage anyone to actually like chop their dick off or anything. Don't do that. We don't want to actually make people trans. But, as a little Easter egg, maybe just throw the suggestion. That's all. That's all I'm suggesting. By the way, if you're trans, come back. You were born as God intended. Don't chop it off. Ah, my goodness. Oh, we got another super chat. Yeah, I think Achilles mentioned it. Mechanical Mike, thank you so much for the $5. Achilles mentioned, but you're not going to believe this. While I was gone, someone messaged me. So I left Thursday. So I didn't stream Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Apparently, what's today's date? The 29th. On the 27th, someone messaged me and was like, did you check your comments? I was like, no. They're like, you're not going to believe what this dude said. 2 days ago, this guy, Austin Hall, I couldn't believe this when I saw this. Said $357 a day, highly unreasonable. I about shit. I was like, what? So, there you have it. If you really want to stick it to this Austin Hall person, let's make sure we get to go. Allegedly, Austin Hall, and I'm just saying allegedly, but allegedly, Austin Hall isn't a fan of trans humor. So, there you have it. Allegedly. All right, we'll get to the Dave and Buster's story at the end. I have a lot to say about Dave and Buster's. And by the way, there's going to be some racial components. However, there's a twist. I was shocked. There's a twist. Everybody's going to be like, you're all racist. You're all jumping to inclusion. I'm just telling you. There's a twist ending. Just saying. There's our man Trex. There's a good one. I'm glad Trex is here because Trex, I've gotten to the bottom of it. See, Trex is someone, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I check the comments out for my videos, not the live stream, but the videos, I think Trex is someone who is, I don't know, that's accused me of getting paid by Israel, or has just not been happy with my commentary on Israel. Has Austin Hall ever came back, Bandit says for $2? Yeah, he did once. He was kind of pleased. He came back 2 days ago. I know that. Rotten bastard. Oh, by the way, before we get into this, anybody see the ending to that Duke UConn game? I know a lot of you probably aren't. I barely watch any basketball. College basketball better than the NBA. But it was a crazy ending to a game. I don't want to spoil it for you. Duke lost. There, I spoiled it. But it's a crazy ending. Worth checking out. And then, that chick that got fucking knocked out at UFC last night, I got up to go to the bathroom and just check. I laid down and couldn't sleep for like 10 minutes and just checking X. Holy shit. That woman was a savage. She like punches this chick and you tell the chick's like knocked out and just like, bam, she's around her choking her out while she's like getting, it was a mess. That's crazy. It was a crazy ending of that fight. And then that other gentleman, I forget his name, but that beat Israel, is that his name? And he was just like, dude, yeah, like a couple weeks ago, I tried to take my life and then I found God. What a crazy story. Crazy. Just absolute craziness. Maybe we'll cover that here at the end of the show. I don't know. We'll see how long we go tonight, but crazy sporting event night. And then my Pittsburgh Penguins, another one of the worst calls ever. They've been on the receiving end of a bunch of shit calls. Erik Karlsson, a defender, got the stick stolen right out from under him. And then while he was complaining, shouldn't have been complaining, they scored a goal, the opponents, but like, that's a big no-no. Joe Piper, yeah, that was his name. Crazy story that the guy who said he was considering ending it all and then found God and then wins this big fight, which I think most people would consider an upset. But I don't know much about UFC, so. All right. So I found it. I found the culprits. Those being paid by Israel. It's me. No, it's not me. I made that joke already. Unless you count Zach Gelpy, who's Jewish, who does send me money from time to time. So part of this is going to be a little bit of a joke, and part of it's not. So, I think what people desire is zero nuance whatsoever in commentary. They want you to just be like, here's an issue, it's black and white, there's no sense even arguing what the other side of the issue could be, even if you're clear that you disagree with it. It doesn't matter. You can't even entertain that there could be another argument. You can't. Oh, fuck yeah, I forgot the I'm Speaking Now segment. Yeah, that's supposed to be tonight, too. Maybe we'll get to that. My goodness, how did I forget that? And so, I find myself in this position, and like I explained this the other day on the show. Overwhelmingly, when I'm online, I'm defending Trump or conservative positions, etc., from left-wingers. That's usually what I'm doing. I'm going on to debating some left-winger. But it's not always the case everywhere. Because to me, Trump's not like 100% right. Trump's probably, though it's declining, the best president in my lifetime. Now, Reagan existed. I was born in 84. But obviously, I didn't know shit about politics until at the earliest small memories of George H.W. Bush and then Clinton. But even then, the bulk of Clinton, I'm like, 12. How much you really paying attention, right? So when I'm talking, I remember W. Bush, I remember Obama, I remember Trump, I remember Biden, I remember the second Trump term. Of those, I'd say Trump's the best, but certainly there's been a lot to complain about, and I've complained about Trump. Again, I say this, people see what they want to see, it's selective. The lefties always say, Rob, you never criticize Trump. Then I have, like, now right-wingers that hate Trump that are like, you've always just carried water for Trump, you never criticize him. Meanwhile, when I was a smaller channel going into the 2020 election, at one point I lost a third of my followers by coming on here every day and bitching about Trump going into the 2020 election. Didn't matter, though. That's all lost in the sauce. That doesn't exist. I've just defended Trump. That's all I've ever done. Okay, fine, whatever. Around here, where I live, and it's mostly conservatives, I spend a lot of time arguing against people that think Trump could do no wrong. Because I don't think either of those positions are correct. I don't think that he's like the worst person ever or that he's infallible. I have the ridiculous position that he is neither the best nor worst person that's ever existed. So when I'm arguing with the people, like the TDS people you see me argue with online all the time, yeah, it looks like, wow, Rob's just constantly defending Trump. But when I'm arguing back home with people that are like, Trump's the greatest ever, I'm like, I don't know about that. That's where I find myself, usually. Now, we had an Iran attack back last summer. I remember vividly. I went to a park called Jellystone. There's a chain of parks here, at least in PA. I think it's in many states, though, called Jellystone off the old Yogi Bear cartoon. And I assume it's the same corporation, but it's like a little water park, and you rent a cabin, and it's a lot of fun. Little golf cart. And if you remember, I bought a little dicky laptop for like $600, and I streamed at this little cubby hole I was streaming at. And on that trip was when Trump bombed Iran. And I was furious. And the majority of my audience was telling me I was an asshole. I was wrong. And you had the Epstein debacle. I was like, it's the worst fucking self-enforced political blunder I've ever seen. Horrible. Then you had the Venezuela attack. I was like, I don't like it. I'm still people message me. Oh, you were fucking wrong on that, weren't you? I don't know. We'll see. I'll say this. When it came to the efficiency of the Venezuela operation, I've never seen anything that successful. That doesn't mean that it'll end up positive for us, by the way, in the long haul. But as of what we see right now, I think that you could take a victory lap for now on Venezuela if it was something you supported. I didn't like it. Now that's where I was at. And if you go back to Trump's first term, the things that I criticized him the most for, the two things were, one, his failure to drain the swamp with appointing people like John Bolton or allowing Bill Barr to stay there and allowing them to cover up the Russiagate scandal. And then the second thing that I complained about the most was probably things like his bombing of Syria. I don't like that sort of interventionism. Now, you may agree or disagree with me. That's my default position. I didn't like how the shit in Afghanistan, how long we were there. I didn't like what was going on in Syria. I didn't like what happened in Libya. I didn't like what happened in Iraq. And so I've argued for years, even if there is a moral component and a strategic component to saying that there needs to be a sort of world superpower that polices the rest of the world, I do not feel the people that run our intel agencies and military are either competent nor benevolent. Therefore, until we get our own house in order, we should not be doing those things. That has been my position. Then, Trump bombs Iran again here, about a month ago. Now, I'm sitting here, I forget where I was at the time. There had been several times where I'd been talking to people, and I was like, I think it's going to be tonight. And it didn't happen. And so then, eventually happens, and my first reaction was, I'm going to go on stream and be like, fuck this guy. And then I thought, now wait a minute. Even though that's how I feel, what if instead I did this? What if instead of just being like, fuck this, I don't like it, what if I said, let me outline the case for what could happen that I would be okay with this, or at least not think it's a big deal. And so I said, here's the forms of evidence that could appear that would make me say, yes, okay, I guess that would be justified. So you start there. Is there ever a circumstance where it's justified for the United States to bomb another country? Of course, I think that. Okay, would there be a circumstance where it would be justified to bomb Iran? Yeah. And I outlined some of those. If we had evidence that they were on the cusp of getting a bomb, and we had evidence that they were going to deploy it against the United States, yeah, I guess in that world. And there were other scenarios. But then I went further, and what I planned on doing was saying, the problem is I don't believe that evidence. If I saw that evidence and was made to believe it, then perhaps I'd say, fair enough, attack justified. But I never will see that evidence because I don't have classified clearance. And I have difficulty trusting these people that have lied to us over and over. That was sort of where I'm coming from with this. I said right now, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world right now. I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. However, if it ends up with boots on the ground, or if it draws out and it ends up being very fucking ridiculous and damaging and hurts our economy, That's terrible. I also said, independent of the moral justification or even the strategic justification, I didn't like it because to me, it was like the final nail in the coffin to ensure that the things I think are most important, the domestic policies, deport them all, train the swamp, aren't going to be the focus. It's going to be foreign policy now. And then I think that would hurt Trump. That's my position. As every day goes on with this conflict and we get closer and closer to boots on the ground, I hate it more and more. That's how I feel. Now, table that. Now let's come over here and talk about something that you would maybe think's unrelated, but it's not, which I'll explain. What are my feelings on Israel as a country? I don't like them. I think Israel commits war crimes. I think Israel has too much influence over the United States. I think they lobby, and I fucking hate that them and all sorts of foreign countries, whether it be Israel, whether it be the United Kingdom, whether it be Spain, whether it be Ukraine, whether it be China, I fucking hate it all. I've been clear about this for years. The problem is, I don't think that they're Satan. I don't think that every time I stub my toe, it's because some Jewish guy did it. I don't think that every single policy decision that's made in our country is at the behest of Israel. And for that, I'm considered a Zionist. Now, of course, when I criticize Israel, then I'm called an anti-Semite. That's where I find myself and where I've been with Israel for a very long time. Got it? Okay. Now table that. Now let's go back to the Iran attack. Now I already explained to you what I end up doing is, depending on who the audience I'm communicating with is, because I'm not just a Trump's always good or Trump's always bad, I end up usually being more to the center on Trump than the person I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to a rabid anti-Trump lefty that thinks Trump's the worst person in the world and needs to have a Nuremberg-style trial and be hung, I'm going to be like, you're fucking nuts. But if I'm talking to someone that's like, Trump is the greatest ever and he could do no wrong, I'm going to be like, you're fucking nuts. That's where I'm at. So to my chagrin, when I started talking about the Iran conflict and I was like, okay, let's start with, what are the possible scenarios where this would be justified? The people that, and I'll admit this is my fault, that were most disagreeing with me, that I was most focused on, were like, how fucking dare you? How dare you, you fucking Zionist? How dare you even entertain the idea that it could be possible? It didn't matter that ultimately my conclusion was, and yet, given the scenario that could be possible to justify this, I still don't buy it. Did not matter, that was my conclusion. The mere fact to even suggest the evidence itself meant that I was a Zionist. That's that. Zionist, how dare you? This leads to the argument of like, listen, there are rationale for not just Israel, why the United States or the Trump administration would want to go into war with Iran. To get their natural resources, because they actually think that Iran's a threat and would pursue a bomb or something. Because Iran tried to assassinate Trump to further encircle China, to prevent them from getting resources. There's a bunch of reasons. It is absolutely true that Israel is ecstatic that the United States has decided to go along with this. They're certainly getting what they want. The neocons are certainly getting what they want. Does that mean that that's the only reason that Trump did it? Trump only did it because of Netanyahu? No. But if you even suggest that, you're a piece of shit Zionist. You must be getting paid by Israel, Rob, to even suggest that. Even though I say I don't like Israel, I think they have too much influence, I don't like this conflict, I would stop sending even $1 to Israel forever. If Israel gets wiped off the map because they've decided to be aggressive, that's on them. We ain't helping. That's my position, and it's been my stated position forever. Doesn't matter. Rob must be getting paid by Israel. So then, since this has happened, whether it be the Iran attack or Epstein, I'll get people that'll call in or voice their displeasure, whatever, and I'll argue it. And I might even agree with their ultimate conclusion. First guy that comes to mind was the guy that called in and was like, I don't like Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, what's going with the Epstein files. Something I agree with. He makes a specific claim. Lied in front of Congress. Okay, where's the lie? Shows a specific clip. This clip. What's the lie? He says, when he's asked, did Epstein traffic underagers to himself, he says he was convicted for that in 2019. That's obfuscating. What are you talking about? No, it's not. And we go in, and if you go look, there's no doubt the guy's just wrong, right? But it doesn't matter. If you go look at the comments, people agree with his conclusion. Epstein, Mossad, Trump covering up because Mossad has something on Epstein, maybe, or Mossad has something on Trump. Maybe Trump diddled kids. Maybe he's afraid for his life, whatever. And therefore, the specifics don't matter. It does not matter. There is no utility. No matter what anyone says, if they say, well, X and then Y and then Z, and therefore Epstein, Mossad, and Trump covering it up, that's the right answer. X, Y, and Z must be true. It doesn't matter if you're like, wait a minute, I don't see a problem with X and Y. Even if I agree with your conclusion, I don't see a problem with X and Y. Oh, you're a Zionist. Oh, you're defending Trump for his handling of the Epstein files. What the fuck are you talking about? Over and over and over. That's what happens. Then, when a clip goes out where it's like, okay, Rob's arguing with this guy showing he's wrong, you'll get tons of people that are like, when did Rob become a Zionist? When did Rob become a neocon? What the fuck are you talking about? Now, the last clip that was put up was a guy who called in, and it started off a bit acrimonious, and that was because I will accept that he's claiming there was a delay. I asked him in the chat, wasn't raising my voice or anything, was like, do you think that the Kamala Harris regime would have bombed Iran? Now, there's a reason, and I'll get to it in a second. He answered with, well, previous regimes didn't, which I interpreted it as, no, she probably wouldn't have. And so I was like, okay. And I started answering. He's like, that's not what I said. And then I was like, fuck you. It's clear that that was what you were implying. So he calls in and he's like, look, there was a delay. Okay, fine. So we got over that. No problem there. It wasn't that I refused to play the rest of the hearing. And this is the exact same person I'm talking about. It'd be the equivalent of this. If Kash Patel started off and said, my name's Kash Patel, that's spelled K-A-S-H. And he was like, there, that's the lie. That's the lie. That's not how you pronounce his name. And I'm like, yeah, here's his birth certificate. Nah, that's a lie. Everyone in the chat that's just like agrees with the conclusion would say, but Rob, you didn't play the rest of the conversation. And I did eventually play the rest of the conversation. And what I said, the reason it's so important to get each specific claim you're making is because what'll happen is this. It's the same as arguing with the lefty. Trump said to drink bleach. No, he didn't. He never said to drink bleach. Okay, Trump said to drink disinfectant. No, he never said to drink disinfectant. Okay, Trump was telling people to inject disinfectants. No, he wasn't. Okay, well, Trump said Nazis were good people. Why don't you move on to that clip, Rob? See the problem? Then once I get to that portion and I'm like, okay, he didn't say that. You'll just move back and forth. It wasn't that I didn't fucking play the rest of the clip. I did. And once we got to the rest of the clip, what did we find out? His claim that he saw the proof in the Epstein files turned out to be, well, I haven't seen it, but I assume it's in the redacted portions. Right. That. He could have said, I was mistaken. You're right. That's not duplicitous. I heard what he said. Now I thought I heard something else. You're right. Nothing wrong there. Anyways, moving on. But he didn't. He kept saying, that's not the part I'm talking about. I'm like, okay, so there's nothing duplicitous about him saying, well, yeah, he's specifically saying. No, that's not duplicitous. That is indicative of, I don't like this guy, and so therefore I'm going to take everything he says in the most uncharitable way possible. And I'm like, well, what's the proof you don't like him? Because of my uncharitable interpretation. Right, but that's, your interpretation sucks there. I like Kash Patel because the handling of the Epstein files has been dog shit, because no one's been held accountable. Because no one's been held accountable with shit like Antifa, hardly. Because no one's been held accountable with the deep state that was going after Trump. That's why I don't like Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. I don't have to say, I don't like him because I think he lied in front of Congress. Where? I don't know. I just think he did. I assume he lied. See the difference? So if you're going to say something like that, I'm not just going to be like, oh, yeah. Well, I disagree with you, but yeah, he sucks. See? Keep in mind, Gray and Sleer, we're going to talk about you and people like you later. Trust me. Hint, hint. I wonder who's really being paid by Mossad. Gray and Sleer. I wonder. It just looks like you're sweeping. So, clip the guy called in the other day wasn't as bad, by the way. Now, here's why I was asking him questions. He says, I don't want to engage in the dialectic. Forget all those fancy bullshit words. Who the fuck dialectic? Get out of here. We live in a system right now where our choices credibly for president was Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump in the last election. One of those two was going to win. No, you could abstain from voting. You could vote third party. Whatever your choice may be. Fine. Great. Okay? Not here to criticize that right now. I have my opinions, but fine. But one of those two were going to win. So you saying, well, I chose not to vote or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. But if you had to choose, would you want Kamala? Would you want Trump? Or do you just hate both and it's irrelevant to you? That's sort of what I'm getting at. What I think's going on with the Israel thing is this. I think that there is a large portion of people that start with a kernel of truth and a dislike of Israel for things, which you have every right to, fine. And then they try to use that to gaslight you that there's nothing wrong with radical Islam. There's nothing wrong with regimes like Iran. Nothing that. Nope. And anytime you can point to shit that's a problem with Islam, they're just like, yeah, but that's because the Jews. The reason that there's Islamic terrorism is because of the Jews, and because the United States is working with the Jews. Or let me put it more specifically, because of Israel and the United States working with Israel. So my question is, then, and this is a question I've yet to have answered, I don't understand, if it's true that Israel is so powerful and controls so much of our government, and almost every problem I could point to. For example, someone steelman their argument for me. You tell me if I'm strawmanning this. Tell me if this is an accurate representation of the people that are hypercritical of Israel and want to bring it up under any conversation. All right? We have a lot of radical Muslims in this country that are doing some real fucked up shit, like fraud, terrorism, etc. And their argument will be, because the Zionists forced us to take them in. Right? That's what they'll say. That's because Israel pushed the United States to accept, and the Western world, to accept all of these Muslims. That's the argument. That's the argument I've heard. Anyone disagree? Go ahead. Trex, go ahead. That's the argument. Trex, I know you don't like the Zionists, so I'll ask you, is that not the argument? That's what I've heard. How it's explained to me. Okay. Now, what administrations did these Muslims come in under? Can someone tell me? If Israel pushed Muslims into the country, and they were able to accomplish it because they have control over our government, what administrations did these Muslims come in under? I think not only could you say Obama, Biden, I think you could probably say at least W. Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Fine, but let's say we include at the very least Obama and Biden there. Great. Then Obama and Biden were somehow under the thumb of Israel. That's why they accepted these Muslims. That's why any criticism of Islam has to start with Israel, according to these people. So much so, I can't even do a video showing, look at this. Here's people testifying about how the Obama administration, or I'm sorry, the Biden administration was spying on 12 U.S. Republican senators. To which the response is, Zionist. These witnesses are Zionists. What the fuck does that have to do with because it's everything, Rob. Because that's the issue that matters. Zionist. And this is where we get to the conversation I had with the guy the other day. People are like, you're putting words in his mouth. What I'm trying to do is this. I'm trying to be like, okay, then if the argument is Trump went to Iran, entering us into World War III because of Israel, did Israel also exert that control over Kamala? Because if so, who should have I voted for? Because I could see other things. Like, I know that a Kamala administration would have led to censoring me online. I know that a Kamala administration would have led to millions of people already coming through the southern border in the second term. I know those two things at least. I know it. I've seen it. It's an extension of the Biden policies and the Obama policies and what all the Democrats clamor for. So if I'm admitting to you, I don't like the war in Iran. I do think Israel has too much influence, along with Qatar, along with China, along with the United Kingdom, and a bunch of other countries. But fair enough, fine. Yeah, fuck it. I agree. We should be hypercritical of Israel when it comes to their influence on our country. Totally get it. No disagreement. Not saying it tongue-in-cheek. I don't like the conflict. I don't particularly like Israel. I don't want their influence here. I'm infuriated when I hear fucking people like Lindsey Graham go off about, hey, fucking Israel. It's like my grandma. Fuck you. I've criticized Ted Cruz for the shit he said about his biblical interpretation needing to protect Israel. I've even argued with my friend Zach Gilpy about how I found it outrageous that it seemed like you can say whatever the fuck you want against a Christian on a college campus and no one will bat an eye, but don't you dare say it against an Israeli person. And yet, doesn't stop. Rob must be getting paid by Israel. Okay, so if it's a binary choice between Trump or Kamala and they were both going to attack Iran, what more am I supposed to do other than saying, yeah, I'm trying to fucking stop this war and tell Trump we need to bring people back and not put boots on the ground, it's a fucking mess, and criticizing him and saying we're going to get fucking destroyed, but still trying to be like, look, I'm also trying to be pragmatic and saying in the short term, I'm still pushing for the feckless fucking Republicans to win because the Republicans are the do-nothing party and the Democrats are the actually do shit to destroy me and my livelihood party. Trex is demanding, I don't see where he asked it, answer the question about the USS Liberty. Go ahead. Ask the question, Trex. What's the question that you have about the USS Liberty? I think that Israel intentionally bombed it. That's what I think. What year was that? Yeah, I think they did that. Okay, next. Now let me tell you why Trex is actually paid by Mossad. Him specifically, Trex and people like him are actually the ones that are paid by Mossad. That's what's happening. Because what a fucking idiot you would have to be. What a fucking obtuse, fucking stupid ass fucking moron would you have to be to hear someone say, I don't like Israel. Don't send them one more dime. Bring the troops back immediately. If I was running shit, I'd kick AIPAC out of my fucking office and tell them never to show their face again. And you'd be like, answer the question about the Liberty. Answer the question. Are you on the payroll? You see, Trex, I don't like paid for Mossad shills like you, motherfucker. Goodbye, fuckhead. That's who these people are. That's what's going on. These stupid motherfuckers that don't know how to take a victory and say, well, Rob agrees with me on 95% of everything. And every political position he says, what we should do, the people we should push for, are better at achieving my goals. And yet I'm still going to accuse him of being a Zionist. And here's another. They allow Crowder to say what? Go ahead. Allow him to say what? Go ahead, Grayson. And I'm like, how could you be that stupid? How could you be that stupid? How could it be that someone's like, I basically agree 99% of what you're saying, and you'd be like, now you must be paid by Mossad because you don't think Israel does everything. And I thought, you know what that makes you want to do is say, wow, maybe this attacks on Israel is all bullshit, because surely only a fucking idiot, only a fucking abject fucking retard would sit there listening to someone agree with them and go, not enough, not enough. Honest to God, I could think of no better advertisement for a pro-Israel position than these stupid motherfuckers. I can't think of one. I literally cannot think of one. The only explanation that makes sense, either these people are mouth-breathing fucking morons, the likes of which I've never seen, or they're actually paid Israeli agents. Look, it's not, the propaganda won't work to go on there and talk about how good Israel is. So take it the other way. Just say they're responsible for everything always. And criticize. If someone says one word that doesn't say, oh, and by the way, Israel sucked, then just start criticizing them. Go to their videos, just criticize. I can't think of something that would make people go, what the fuck? Wow, I was critical of Israel, but now, holy shit. On one hand, I got the fucking lefties that are like, yeah, and by the way, kill white people too. There's some strange bedfellows. And on the other hand, I got the people on the right. They're like, but you haven't bitched about Israel enough tonight. No matter what you're talking about. Well, Rob, I noticed you talked about that story about taking your family to a cave in Louisville. Why didn't you mention the Jews? Why didn't you mention that? Sounds to me like you're getting paid to distract, Rob. So getting back to this previous caller, a lot of people don't say, yeah, Kamala would have attacked. They'll say, no, Biden didn't. And it's like, if Israel's so all-powerful, why did they allow the Biden and Obama administrations off the hook? Like, they were giving Iran billions of dollars. Why? Now, according to the people that I'm talking to here, they're like, yeah, but they also were being forced by Israel to allow Muslims in. Because, it's not like Obama would have any affinity for Muslims unless Israel told him to. Got it? So it's like, why? Or could it be, now, hear me out here. Hear me out. Maybe Israel isn't as all-powerful as they're suggesting. If it's possible for a mainstream party, like Democrat Party and the last two leaders, to not be under the thumb of Israel, well, then Israel must not be as all-powerful as you're suggesting. Now, maybe your argument is they're only in control of the Republicans. Fair enough. We could have that conversation. But the idea that it's just like, well, they're all-powerful. They control it all. And yet there are clearly policies that they would be pissed off about. That happened in the Obama administration, the Biden administration, probably the first Trump administration. Could it be that Israel, like China, like the United Kingdom, like Qatar, is paying and getting results for some of what they're paying for? Sure. Does it mean that every single thing that's being done that has some foreign policies because of these people? I don't think so. You think I've been? Or you think they are? I don't know what you're trying to say. I think there are multiple factions of globalists that basically hate average Americans. I think some of them are people like Lindsey Graham who are like, yeah, fuck it. Israel, yep, let's do everything for them. Fuck Lindsey Graham. If it hasn't been made clear on my channel that I don't like Lindsey Graham, I don't know what more I could do. I think there are a different section of globalists, the Obama-type people, that aren't the biggest Netanyahu fans. Fuck them too. They also, in a more direct way, want to ruin my way of life. That's what I think. And I think what we're in danger of seeing is the people that are so anti-Israel that they're like, and therefore, let's elect Kamala Harris. Let's elect the Democrats. The Jews did nothing wrong. The Muslims do nothing wrong. It's only because of the Jews that Christianity and Muslims aren't getting along swimmingly. That's why I'm asking like a caller, like, okay, so if I'm trying to decide who should have I picked, Trump or Kamala, and you're like, well, the Iran attack's the biggest thing in the world, and the Jews, or let me rephrase, Israel, we gotta stop Israel no matter what. So then Kamala, who wanted the disinformation board to censor me, who wants to bring in 10 million people. Her? Or no, she only wants to bring in those 10 million because of Netanyahu. But she wouldn't have attacked Iran for him. That's what I'm getting at. Now, may it be, Rob, you're mistaken. If you delved further, you would see that actually Israel controls everything. It's possible. That's in the realm of possibility. It's also possible that Israel's just being totally smeared. And this is all big op from left-wing globalists. Suppose that's true too. My money wouldn't be on either of those positions. My money would be somewhere in between. But I'm so tired of people just losing all critical thought, where it's like, as soon as someone says anything that is, well, Israel bad guy, you have to accept whatever they're saying 100%. That's it. And to even be like, now wait a second, you must be getting paid by Israel. You must be a neocon. That must be what you are. Now, it's not just me at the end of the day. Obviously, I'm subjectively interested in me and what people are saying about me. But here you can see it's also, and I've heard, this was the only clip I could find, but I've heard things to this extent about people like Matt Walsh. Now here's Nick Fuentes on Matt Walsh.
I see these sad girl dads and wife guys on Twitter. What about our generational coalition? Mr. Trump. They, honest to God, thought a generational movement spawned in response to trannies playing soccer with their daughters and Columbus Day being renamed Indigenous Peoples Day, and because Disney Plus cast a wrong character in The Little Mermaid or something. I mean, that's literally what they thought it was. A guy like Matt Walsh, or that archetype, he really drives his daughter to soccer, watches Disney Plus with his daughter, and he thinks that is the world revolves around this, or at the minimum, the world of politics revolves around this. And it just doesn't. Sorry. It doesn't. So we have to think as an empire. You, me, we are citizens of the empire. Welcome to the American empire. We're in it. Yes, we have a global reach. No, that's not going to change. Yes, we have a massive amount of diversity, and we're going to have to live with that. Actually, we're going to have to be realistic. So we need a cutthroat mentality of increasing. You and me, citizens of the global empire, as heritage Americans, legacy, multi-generational, we have to take what is ours. It won't be given to us. No one's going to save us. No one is going to come and hand it down. We have to fight for it. We have to take what is ours. I'm so sick of all the doom and gloom. Are we going to win? Is it possible? Is America over? It's always sort of been over. We're born, we live, we die. We watch others die, we get sick. We don't get what we want. Life belongs to those. The empire belongs to those that show up and fight and win. And winning isn't easy. So that's how you have to do it. And that's how we have to approach politics. So don't get mad, get even. Don't hate the game, play the game, get in the game. That's why I tell people, you want to get involved, be a college Republican, get on a campaign, be an intern in the administration, and start working your way up the ladder. I'll tell you something. Whether a Republican wins or whether a Democrat wins, there's going to be groypers in the next administration because we've taken care of things.
Yeah, we'll see about that. What I will say about this is, although there's some things that he says that are true there, why would you attack someone like Matt Walsh? First off, he's fundamentally incorrect about what the coalition was. Now, if I could steelman what I think he's trying to say that there's more truth to, would be this. It doesn't really matter what a, quote, coalition wants. Trump was allowed to win because of the Zionists, because of the Neocons. That's why he was allowed to win, because the tech bros, because of the Zionists. That's where he got the political backing, the money, the connections, etc. But the coalition of people that were excited about Trump absolutely existed without that. For example, the techie bros weren't with him in 2016 at all. Neither were the Zionists or Neocons. You don't think they would have liked Hillary Clinton? The truth is, the parents, which I think it's funny that it's disparaged, Nick could do more good by actually, getting married and having children than even his show and what he thinks about politically. So the slight, disparaging, this guy's taking his daughter to soccer practice. Yeah, I mean, I guess he could be spending his time dropping dank memes online more, as opposed to being a father, I suppose. But then look at the things Matt Walsh is saying. Let's just go back a few days. He works for the Daily Wire. The person that people say is one of the biggest Zionist shills, Ben Shapiro, signs his paycheck. Right? Here's the things that he's saying just today. He retweets, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem says Israeli police blocked him from saying Palm Sunday Mass at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre today. Walsh says, totally outrageous and inexcusable. Criticizing Israel there. Not only do we have foreigners like this ridiculous brat asking that we fight and die on their behalf, they don't even have the humility to ask nicely. They demand. They say we owe it to them. Ungrateful, presumptuous, demanding and taking and stealing from us, never giving anything in return, never doing anything from us. Never even saying thank you. It's this kind of attitude we've allowed foreigners to have towards us for decades. I'm sick of it. Disgusted. America's the richest, most powerful, most generous country in the world. We're so superior to everyone else and so charitable and kind and helpful that unfortunately many of the lesser countries on the globe have become welfare queens who expect us to coddle, care for, fund, and fight for or protect them. We are the parents who have taken good care of our children, but have not forced them to contribute enough, earn their own keep, and now they are spoiled, ungrateful, and helpless. It's time to cut the umbilical cord and force the rest of the countries to stand on their own 2 feet. We can't do everything for everyone. I've never seen such a disconnect between the commentary in this site and what I hear in the real world. I've talked to dozens of normal conservatives in real life about the Iran war and haven't met a single one who's actually enthusiastically in favor of it. At best, they're warily optimistic. In most cases, they're opposed. In some cases, they're not only opposed but deeply furious. And yet, if you utter a word of criticism about the world, you'll be shouted down by throngs of alleged American conservatives who allegedly have wanted nothing more than for America to go to war with Iran. It doesn't reflect what I see on the ground. That's not just cope because my position is unpopular with my side. I've held plenty of unpopular positions. I really don't care. But in this case, the social media versus the real world divide is stark and unlike anything I've seen before. The pro-war side could dismiss all they want. Go ahead. All I can tell you is that I personally know multiple very conservative, lifelong Republican voters, like me, who are so furious and feel so betrayed that they're planning on sitting out the midterms. Well, not like me, but I don't think that's the right move, and I don't encourage it. But this is something I'm hearing pretty often. People are pissed. Maybe that doesn't show up on this site. Maybe it doesn't show up in the polls, but it's real. Go talk to people, actual people. We've been told many times there won't be boots on the ground. Many, almost all, of the pro-war accounts here have been given breezy assurances that there won't be boots on the ground. If we do end up with boots on the ground, prepare yourself for the most shameless gaslighting campaign we've ever witnessed, as all of the same voices who insist no such assurances were given, and in fact always knew there would be boots on the ground, and were never told anything differently. This person says, Matt's gravitating closer to Meghan and Tucker. Matt says, yes, I'm gravitating in a certain direction by being skeptical of U.S. interventionism, as I've proudly and publicly been for as long as I've had a platform. This is a new development. This general point of view I've had for the past 15 years is an ominous side. Good point, David. Weak, support the war all you want, but don't pretend it makes you somehow stronger to sit in safety while other people fight. Whether I support the war or oppose it, I'm a 40-year-old man and my kids are all too young to go to war. I will take no courage or strength to argue in favor of sending other people's kids off to fight. I'm not claiming it takes any courage to oppose sending them either. I'm just telling you what I think based on my analysis of the situation. For you and me, sitting here in comfort and safety, strength or weakness has nothing to do with it. So stop congratulating yourself and make your case if you have one. Now here's a guy who's clearly against the conflict, who's saying we got to stop fucking being the daddy of all these other countries and doing whatever they want. He has real skin in the game. The people that say the biggest Zionist with the biggest voice in the country is the guy that signs his paycheck, doesn't give a shit. He's out there saying this every day, criticizing Israel, criticizing the war. And yet, what are the dumb fucks gonna do? Here, I'll show you. Where's it at? I saw this comment. Candace said Jews profited in the slave trade, and Walsh immediately made a video on slavery while not mentioning Jews, main focus on Muslims. Do you see? Now it was a sin of omission. Do you see? Do you see how fucking stupid these people are? You're not anti-Israel enough. Not enough. You need to be more. It's not enough. That's suspicious. You're only out there criticizing this war every day. That's not enough. Why haven't you talked about the USS Liberty? Why did you not mention Jewish slavery when you did a video on slavery? Why not? I can only think of two explanations. People like that guy are some of the dumbest human beings that have ever existed. That's one. Or they are paid shills by Israel. That's what I think's going on. See? Or they're just a bot. That could be too. I mean, the mere fact that you're going to jump to accusing other people being paid by Israel at least lets you know that it's fair game to ask if these people are being paid. Now imagine you're trying to build imagine you're like, I think the problem's so deep that Israel's infested all levels of the United States government. Our culture, our government, financially. It's going to take a huge coalition to beat them. And here's people over here, it's like, well, I don't know about that, but yeah, a lot of this shit that Israel's pushing for, I'm vehemently against. And I think we need to get Israeli influence out. And we need to come back from this war and shit and focus on policies back home. And you're like, Zionist! Fucking Zionist! That person's going to be like, oh, okay, go fuck yourself. I'm uninterested in helping you with anything. Go fuck yourself. See ya. How stupid do you have to be? How stupid? Imagine that. Imagine if I was like, hey, Pennsylvania election's coming up here. For governor, we got Democrat Josh Shapiro, who I really don't like, right? And then Stacey Garrity is going to be the candidate for Republican. Now, I think you should vote for Stacey Garrity because actually, like, her economic policy is tremendous. I think it's so much better. She's going to lower income tax here in Pennsylvania, especially for businesses, which is going to drive businesses here and create much needed jobs in the area. And someone says, I don't know. I'm not too thrilled with her business, but man, was her, like, as a veteran myself, I think she's phenomenal, the service that she had. And so I'm definitely going to vote for her. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. You fucker. Who's paying you? The Democrats paying you, motherfucker? Get the fuck out of here. Vote for Stacey Garrity for her military service and not economic. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. You shill. How much sense would that make? Wouldn't you be like, wait, what? That guy was going to vote the exact way you wanted him and you just told him to eat shit and fuck off because he had a slight disagreement about what his favorite thing was, why to vote for it? And yet, that's what hundreds upon hundreds of the Everything Israel accounts do. Why? Why wouldn't they be like, even when I was on Tim Pool's show the first time, and that guy, Liam Cosgrove, I talked to him before the show. He's like, my big thing is, I want to get Tim to admit we should stop sending money to Israel. Tim's like, yeah, stop sending money to Israel. Didn't matter. Liam kept, wow, what about the Zionists? What about this? What about this? What about this? To the point where you can see Tim's getting pissed off. And I'm like, dude, you're going past the cell. Like, you won. You got what you wanted. Thank you. But no, you keep pushing. Why? Are you just dumb? Or is there another agenda? I do not understand it. I don't understand it at all. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe literally Israel controls everything about our government. Maybe. Why would you take someone that's like, well, to the extent what I can see that Israel likes that we're doing that I dislike, I say, fuck that, let's stop doing it. That's how I'm going to vote. Why would you? You must be getting paid by Israel. What? So anytime you see someone criticize someone like Matt Walsh or anyone, like, if you see someone's like, I don't like this war in Iran, I wish it would stop tomorrow, and somehow you see people shouting at them, Zionist, you're getting paid by Israel, you should ask yourself, if it doesn't make sense, if you're like, wait, what? Israel's paying this guy to tell everyone to do what they can to stop the war? That's what Israel's paying for? You may want to ask, like, or is Israel paying this person that's asking that question? Well, there's, the Chamber of Commerce spending money. Of course, there's all sorts of organizations. I mean, for me, it's just like, I think that Israel, like other lobbies, is paying to get policies that they want. And I think Israel's lobby is pretty effective. But they act like, well, that's it. Everything's Israel. And those that oppose Israel must be the good guys. What? You see? Just one bullshit after another. One bullshit after another. No. Come back another day then, Eric. Thank you so much. I'm talking about what I feel like talking about today. I think it's very important. I think that this war and the infighting that we have going on right now is one of the big things that'll cost us the election. I oftentimes talk about how disgusting the Republican Congress is, and it's a topic that I planned on talking about tomorrow. You can come back tomorrow. I'll enjoy talking about what I want tonight, but thank you so much for the suggestion. Okay? Well, all right, Grand Sleer. I actually don't like people paid by Mossad, so we'll see you later. Remember, that guy's probably paid by Mossad, so when you're interacting with him, just remember that. Some more super chats. Oh, here is the question from Trex. Thanks so much for the $5, guy who's no longer here. Rob, would the men of the U.S. Liberty think Israel is Satan? Probably not. My guess is no, they would not have thought that. At the very least, they'd have thought Israel was terrible in attacking them. But just like the men who fought in Vietnam would not have thought Vietnam was Satan. Our founding fathers that fought the United Kingdom, or Britain would have not thought Britain was Satan. The French and Indian War, the people that fought the French would have not thought France was Satan. That'd be my guess. Zach Gelpy, $10 says, this exact argument people use against me. Well, my organization is directly trying to defund sanctuary cities and kick out all of these asylum seekers out of Maine. Right, but that's Zionist because, I don't know. Vita for $2 says, would you review Malali's debate on Trump v. Kamala? Maybe. Look, the truth is fuck Israel. Right? And Israel's quickly become, regardless if it's fair or not, a PR nightmare. I mean, Bill Maher's talking about his show the other day. Would you even take money from AIPAC at this point? The Democrats fucking hate, the average Democrat voter fucking hates Israel. 50% of the Republican voters fucking hate Israel. That's it. Israel has to realize this. They've overplayed their hand, regardless if it's fair or not. That's it. They're going to become the touch of death. And I don't give a shit. Fuck them. Good. Stay the fuck out of the business of our country. But the everything is Israel to the point, like that shit's not a winning message. Nick could be like, well, trust me, bro. In 2028, we're gonna have Groypers in a Republican or Democrat administration. We'll see. No premonition. Me saying fuck Israel would imply I'm not supporting them. I support Israel as much as I support Spain. I sure exist. If someone attacks you, I say, that's a shame. Deal with it, I guess. We're not helping. I just don't give a shit. No, I'm definitely serious. I don't like any foreign country, period. Well, it's not that. It's I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck about Canada. I don't give a fuck about the United Kingdom. I don't give a fuck about Spain. I don't give a fuck about Japan. I don't give a fuck about North or South Korea. I don't give a fuck about China. I don't give a fuck about Taiwan. I don't give a fuck about Vietnam. I don't give a fuck about South Africa. I don't give a fuck about Zimbabwe. I don't give a fuck about Costa Rica. I don't give a fuck about Brazil. I don't give a fuck about Chile. I don't give a fuck about Argentina. Right now in my country, things are dog shit. That's what I care about. I don't give a fuck to be grabbing Maduro. I don't care. I don't give a fuck to be bombing Iran. Stop that shit and focus back home. But Rob, what about the 30,000 Iranian that were killed? That's a shame. Rob, what about October 7th in Israel? That's a shame. Deal with it. Leave them deal with it. Do I look as an individual and say, well, I wish the Scottish people were doing better? Sure, I loved Braveheart. But I don't think one dime of our country's money should go there unless it's legitimate trade. That's it. I do not give a shit. I don't wish the people of Israel bad. I don't wish the people of Palestine bad. I don't wish the people of Iran to do bad. I really wish the world peace would break out and everyone would just compete through athletics and we'd all be trading partners. Great. I understand that things outside the border affects things inside. I've been lied to that case over and over and over. I was told that things in Iraq affect me here. I was told that things in Afghanistan affect here. Things in Syria, things in Libya, things in Venezuela, things in Brazil. And my government's used that as an excuse to push the rest of the world to attack right-wing populists around the world and to outsource the wealth of middle class and working class people in this country around the world. So I no longer believe them when they go, but trust us this time. This time, we're telling the truth. Trust us, bro. Sorry, I don't trust you. Fuck off. When I see problems right in my backyard, I don't give a fuck about the alleged boogeyman in Iran. Now, if I was made aware, but Iran was 2 weeks away from a bomb and they literally were targeting Philadelphia, I'd say, oh, fuck yeah, we had to stop that. But I don't believe that's what happened. We send you and the people that have a problem. If you have a big heart about poor people dying of starvation in Africa, work hard, send your money. If you give a shit about bad actors around the world, pick up your rifle and go. Ukraine's still taking volunteers, buddy. See you later. I'm sure you can catch a flight over to fucking Qatar or something and then hop a fucking jitney over to Iran. Good luck to you, sir. No, you didn't. You went to Iran? Show me. You went to Ukraine? Show me. And you certainly didn't go any time in the near past couple years. People want to volunteer? Have at it. No problem. I don't want to go. I don't want my son to have to go. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being lied into war after war after war and then being emotionally blackmailed to, but you have to justify another war because else how would you deal with bad actors? Okay, fair enough, Level 4 Lobster. We need to throw Level 4 Lobster in prison and take all of his money and jail his family because I think he's a terrorist. And when you're like, that's outrageous. Well, how would you deal with terrorists? We shouldn't be dealing with them? Oh my God, this week on terrorism shit is... If a country attacks us, we can attack them. Not some bullshit. Well, we heard that they paid some terrorists, that paid some terrorists, that paid some terrorists to attack us. They attack us, we attack them, overwhelming force, end of story. Done. They attack Israel, let them bomb the shit out of Israel. Don't give a fuck. They attack the United Kingdom, bomb the fucking shit out of the United Kingdom. I don't give a fuck. You volunteered to go to Iraq twice, so now what? My kid should have to go to Iran and die? Did I get that right? Is that how we're doing it here? Or is it Ukraine that he must go to? You'd still work a physical job, sign back up, head over. No problem. Or have you done just enough? Okay, I did ask you to go. I said the way I deal with it is sending volunteers. Do you want to go? No. Okay, cool. Great. Then I guess I'm not worried about deposing the Iranian regime. I'm tired of this neocon bullshit. I'm just tired of it. Okay, Rob. Okay, but what about this? What about if there was a violent attacker? Level 4 Lobster is the guy that watched the fucking boy cry wolf 20 days in a row. And when finally you say, we're not going to listen to this kid cry wolf anymore, Level 4 Lobster goes, but what would you do if there was a wolf? How about that? So you're telling us to believe this guy? No, I'm just saying eventually there could be a wolf. You got her, Lobster. Enjoy the cry wolf crowd. Fair enough. I won't complain when I have to do with another nuclear power, as long as if you want to complain, you volunteer to go over and fight in Iran. Deal? Completely fair deal. I agree. The people that are unwilling to volunteer to go over and fight or to have their tax dollars be used to go fight Iran don't get to complain if Iran becomes a nuclear power, but you don't get to say shit all unless you're willing to go over and fight. That sounds like a fair deal to me. I accept the deal. Sounds reasonable to me. What will there be left to eat? We've used all of our resources watching the boy cry wolf predictably every single day. While there wasn't any. So we're all starving anyways. The wolf will pass right by me. I'm just so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. No, the proposition is I'm tired of being the world police. There are issues domestically back home I'd like dealt with. I'm told that we can't deal with them and we have to deal with things overseas because the same intel community that lied to me about Libya, about Syria, about Iraq, about Afghanistan are now telling us, but trust us, believe us this time on Iran. And I'm saying I don't have the time of fucking day for that. I'm focused back home. And then when some smartass goes, but yeah, how would you deal with hostile foreign powers? I say, sending your ass over. Go. That's it. If you feel strongly, go. That is correct. If someone bombed the United Kingdom, it has no effect on me. I agree. That is absolutely true. What is the effect on me? You know, there is an effect on me. The United Kingdom intentionally sending spies to try to stop Trump from winning in 2016. That did directly affect me. Someone bombing the United Kingdom does not directly affect me. Okay? If it's trade, if trade's the answer, okay, then any country we ever trade with, if anyone ever bombs them, we should go to war with that country. So, if we traded with any companies that had any business in Palestine, we should go to war with Israel. Correct? Because it affected our trade. Now everything affects. Name a country we don't trade with. Very few. I can't believe we could have open borders, millions upon millions of people coming in. Mass censorship here. We could see, just in the past month, Somali fraud, Minneapolis. We can see fucking hospice fraud in all these places in California. Left-wingers rioting, getting their will anywhere they want. Judges completely shredding any domestic agenda. And yet, there's a contingent of people that are like, forget about that shit. What about fucking Iran? We don't have time to deal with this shit back home. We're dealing with Iran. And then once we deal with Iran, it'll be Cuba or Turkey, whatever. There'll always be, we'll never have time to deal with the domestic issues. That's for sure. Lindsey Graham will get whatever he wants. Fine, then why even bother to elect someone like Trump? Let's just elect Jeb Bush. Right? But candidates should just be like, oh, we're not going to bother to talk about domestic issue. Who has time for that? After all, some country around the world may want to bomb us, so. Apparently, no one could walk and chew gum at the same time. Name me the administration that has. Now I'm willing to work with the people. I am. I'm willing to work with the fucking neocons. I'm willing to work with fucking the Nick Fuentes crew. I see an enemy that I see right here in my neighborhood. I see it. I see the radical left. I see the globalists. I see it. I'll work with whoever I can to deal with that. My question is, why are my concerns never brought about? That's why, seemingly, we elected Trump. And the group that I used to fight against, the neocons, they're getting everything they want. And once more, I'm told by people I like on this channel, but Rob, settle down, man. We have to give them what they want. It's very important. We can walk and chew gum. We just don't. But we could, but we don't. So, look, man, I'm cool. You neocons, sure, let's give you a little something from time to time, even if I disagree with it. But can we get anything? Can we get a couple scraps? Can we get that? No? Just for you? Oh, our bad. Now I'm going to vote Republican. And I'm going to try to convince people. But y'all are making it real fucking hard. Real hard. What do I say? Like, I'm telling you anecdotally, the people I know right now, I know most zero people enthusiastic to vote for Trump. And almost everyone I know voted for Trump. And they're like, or to vote for Republicans in midterm. They're just like, fuck it, what's the point? SAVE Act, 10 million deportations. Arresting James Comey, Christopher Wray, Adam Schiff. Hiring back all the whistleblowers that blew the whistle about the corruption of the FBI. And what's amazing is, and this is what Matt Walsh was getting to in those posts, and it's so funny because I have to argue with both sides. I got to argue with the, but Rob, you're a Zionist. Now I got to argue with the, but Rob, why do you hate interventionism crowd? Y'all are getting what you want. You're going to lose. Don't blame me. Don't blame Matt Walsh. Don't blame Nick Fuentes. You're going to lose because you and what you push for and your hubris. Trust us. We're right. Iran needed to be attacked. Shut up. It's a good thing. Okay. Okie dokie. And you're going to point the finger at everyone else. Yeah. Well, if only people like Rob and Nick Fuentes weren't pushing people on how good the Iran war was. If they would have just convinced people. They were dividing the party. Yeah. I hated the Iran war. I hated attacking Iran. I hated attacking Syria. I didn't like attacking Venezuela. But I'm willing to stomach it if there are other... I understand. It was a big coalition. I get it. I'd be willing to accept it if it wasn't catastrophically bad and if there were things being done, parts of the agenda that I liked. There's not. There's not. Not in a serious way. I said at the beginning, I was like, I'm willing to see it out. If this is something that's over and done in a month and no boots go on the ground and it looks like it ends up afterwards, sort of like the Venezuelan thing where it's like, well, then I'm willing to be like, I don't know. Maybe it was the right move. I still don't know. I still suspect not. But okay. Instead, we were told it'll be over, open and shut, not very difficult. Then we were told no chance boots on the ground. Now we're going to be told, of course, boots need to be on the ground. That was always going to be the case. We were told there ain't a chance they'll close the Straits of Hormuz. It's not going to affect oil or gas prices. Then it did. And they're like, well, of course they did. Trump told people to watch Mark Thiessen and Mark Levin. Just yesterday. Watch Mark Levin interview a brilliant Mark Thiessen tonight. Okay, what'd they have to say? I have the clip somewhere. Give me a second. Here's 3 minutes of what Mark Thiessen, I hope I'm pronouncing it, said. You ready? Here's what Trump wanted us to see.
There's concern about, dirty bombs and so forth and so on. I don't hear anybody talking about that. That's one of the reasons the president is focused as much on nuclear missiles as he is on enrichment. No?
Absolutely. And, one of the things people don't realize is that the leader of Al-Qaeda right now, the successor of Osama bin Laden, who we killed, and then Ayman Zawahiri, who we also killed, the third guy to take that position is a guy named Saeed al-Adel. And you know where he's living right now? Tehran. That's where his headquarters is.
Cool.
Al-Qaeda is no longer in Pakistan. They're no longer in Iraq. The caliphate's been destroyed.
We helped al-Nusra in Syria in deposing Assad. Trump bombed Assad in Syria. So, yeah, I'm not buying this.
They are in Iran right now. And Al-Qaeda has actually had a cell operating inside Iran since 9/11. A whole bunch of the leadership, including bin Laden's son, escaped from Afghanistan to Iran, were given sanctuary by the Iranian regime, and they've been using it as a hub for terror around the world. And Al-Qaeda...
So now we have to be in Iran because of terrorism, because of Al-Qaeda. Not because they were trying to develop a weapon. Okay.
And Iran have teamed up for a series of terrorist attacks against us. People don't realize this, but we remember the bombings of the embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, which should have been our warning that 9/11 was coming. That was planned, and the terrorists were trained by Iran for doing that because Al-Qaeda didn't know how to bring down buildings, so they turned to Iran.
Saudi Arabia funded the alleged 9/11 hijackers. When are we going to war?
In order to get the training to do that. So the idea that Iran, which is Shia, and Al-Qaeda, which is Sunni, would cooperate is not beyond measure. In fact, Hamas is Sunni also. Iran works with Sunni terrorists around the world. And if we don't get that enriched uranium, and they want to get back at us for what we've done, the easiest way to do it would be to give it to Al-Qaeda and let them use it for a dirty bomb. So we have got to get what Donald Trump correctly calls the nuclear dust before this operation is done.
How do you, now I don't know if they say it in this clip, how do you think they suggest getting the nuclear dust?
Why do you think Mark Thiessen, literally, except us right now, nobody's actually talking about it, all the experts aren't talking about it, the media's not talking about it. Why do you think that is?
Well, because the media is spending a lot of time cheering for defeat. They don't want to give us more reasons about why Donald Trump was right to go in. They also didn't talk about the fact that very little talk about the fact that they have missiles that can reach Europe. We're talking about that, but you don't see that on the front page of the major newspapers or leading the nightly news. I've never seen. I know that people turned against the Iraq war after a period of time. They turned against Afghanistan after a period of time. The Democrats did, but I never seen a war where the Democrats turned against the war on day one and are rooting for defeat. There are people in this country who hate Donald Trump more than they hate the Iranian regime that just massacred 32,000 people in their streets. They were all very upset about what was happening in Gaza, but 32,000 people massacred, and then Donald Trump comes in to wipe out the genocidal regime that actually was committing genocide against its own people, massacring them in the streets like that. And because it's Donald Trump, we have to play it down. We have to say it's a defeat. We have to say we're losing. And they're all going to have egg on their face because we got.
Levin called for boots on the ground last night as well. Let's see if I can find. And Trump told everyone to watch. Again, Trump told us to watch this, how important it was. He knew what they were saying.
Troops on the ground. He said no troops on the ground. I don't remember that in any campaign speech either. But why would we need troops on the ground? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and we wouldn't need 300,000 of them. It's this uranium, too. We've got to get the uranium. If it cannot be destroyed, if it cannot be altered, we got to get it. For the reason I just said. You can make dirty bombs, and over time you can still make sophisticated missiles. So you need to get to the uranium. That's why I'm reading in the paper, we're talking about the 82nd Airborne, we're talking about these various special forces and the various military.
See, we need boots on the ground. Now, Victor says, do you think that Iran would move down a path to develop weapons to threaten the U.S. if you left the region alone? Probably. I do think that. So then what would I do? Here's what I would do. Weed out the corruption in our military and intel agencies first. That's what I would do. That'd probably take a couple years. Secondly, achieve all that you can on the domestic agenda. Because here's what's happening. It does not matter. Just like the boy who cried wolf. The first step is get a different boy. That boy's no good anymore. No one believes that boy. And if you have to work under the auspices of what that boy says to ensure that you get elected and can achieve the domestic agenda, you're going to lose because no one believes that boy. So it does not matter. It doesn't matter if you think that's fair or not. But it wasn't Trump's fault that the intel agencies lied. Fair enough. And yet, until he does something to get people's confidence back in those organizations, many people, including many people that voted for him, are not going to believe them. And when you're talking about 49% of the people in this country despising Donald Trump and despising his party and never voting for them, you can't afford to alienate 10% of those that would. And those people are going to, like myself, rightfully be alienated because the very groups of people that we pushed against in pushing for Donald Trump are now pushing Trump for the exact same policies that we've always pushed against. Let me ask you this, Victor. Is it possible that Iran could use gain of function to weaponize a COVID virus to get us? So we all better lock down the next time there's any sort of bad cold virus, right? We have to. Let's get Dr. Fauci on stage and say, gentlemen, we all must lock down. And you would say, absolutely. What if someone did weaponize a virus? So we better lock down, right? Now, you intuitively would probably say, no, fuck that. Why would I trust Dr. Fauci again? Why would I believe that after they just lied to me? No, fuck them. No. But what if this time it really is lethal? What if it really is this time? We can't take the chance. We can't take the chance. Lock it down. So you're saying it's Fauci that's really cooking us, not the Chinese that weaponized the virus. See the stupidity? Good. Okay. Great. I'm glad you're agreeing with me. If there is a place for U.S. interventionism, it will only be trusted when the corruption has been dealt with first. The corruption has not even been broached. Therefore, many people are going to be like, we don't believe you. We were told to believe you on Iraq. You lied. We were told to believe you on Afghanistan. You lied. We were told to believe you on Libya. You lied. We were told to believe you on Syria. We lied. Or you lied. Now you're saying, but believe us on Iran. People are like, I don't believe you. And many of you are going to be like, but this time it's super serious, true. Great, but do you understand why people don't believe? Now, if a Democrat did this, the Democrats would all believe. They stick together. We're not like that. COVID's a threat. Fauci was right. COVID was a threat. Did people die of it? Yep. In real time, the majority of people believed that Fauci was telling the truth. I could show you that they lied about Libya after the case. We'll get there, Wade. I just don't this is what I don't know. It's as absurd as it is. I don't understand it's Israel, everything's Israel, bro. How those people are so fucking stupid that they're attacking people that politically align with them. I'm equally baffled that the people that are pro-attacking Iran can't see why people are like, we're tired of this, we're out. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that you all don't get it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't know how you can't see it. We're lied to about Iraq, and Libya, and Syria, and Afghanistan, But you expect everyone to forget all that and just buy Iran, Yeah, what the fuck? Why isn't everyone just super on board with this? Yeah, higher gas prices, whatever. Yeah, we're not doing shit domestically. Oh well, who cares, right? But I don't understand what the problem is. How is not everyone 100%? How isn't this the most popular thing ever? I'm baffled. I'm truly. You meet a bunch of people that said one of the reasons we like Trump was because he didn't get us into no new wars, aren't absolutely thrilled that there's a new war, why key parts of his domestic agenda aren't being pushed. I don't understand. Why wouldn't people be thrilled? Fauci hasn't been charged. No one's been charged under COVID. No one's been charged under Crossfire Hurricane. No one's been charged under the FBI abuses under Biden. Almost no one's charged as we see left-wing rioters almost day after day take to the street. That's true. The Republicans in the House and Senate are worse, which is why Trump should be using his political capital, focusing on the domestic agenda and calling out those that are bad instead of throwing up his hands and saying, I'm going to go off venturing foreign policy in the ways that core portions of my base hates. That would be my suggestion. Not to just say, geez, my base is frustrated because the Republicans that I need in Congress are holding up the agenda. I know, I'll further put my thumb in their eye by doing shit they don't like foreign policy-wise. That'll show them. But hey, I'm sure they'll be ecstatic to go vote for my party in the midterms. Right, and if there's no evidence either way, the affirmative is the side that's invaded, that's caused the increase in oil prices, that's caused huge swaths of his party to be upset. The do nothing position would be to do nothing. Once you act and we say, we don't have proof that your intel was accurate, all we know is we're historically, us in your base, many of us are historically against this sort of interventionism, and you've done it, and you haven't given us proof that it was necessary, so we don't like it. Right. So if I lie to you 10 times in a row about something, and then the 11th time I say it again, and you're like, I don't see proof either way, you're going to be like, yeah, I don't believe you. Yes, it is the same people. Who are the key people that Trump's fired from our intel agencies? And then what it is those of you that can't understand why people are pissed, all you do is make it even more likely that those people ain't voting in the midterms. You're going to leave people like me try to pick up the pieces. Because a bunch of smug assholes are like, of course this is great. Why would it's all Trump's people? Why wouldn't you trust Trump? Of course. Okay. I don't know what to say. It's frustrating. It's just frustrating that and it's not just the people in this chat. These are like the people I talk to that are involved in politics. Like they're like this. They're just like, well, the people will come around. They'll be pro-Iran war. Really? What makes you think that? I would say every day it goes on longer, it will get less popular, would be my guess. Now, it may end next week. And then people might say, I guess it wasn't that bad. But it doesn't look like that's the case. Where this confidence comes from, and I don't understand it. If I was like neocon type guy and wanted this war, this is what I would have said. I would have said, holy fuck. I know if Trump does this, it's going to be massively unpopular. So what we need to do is the portions of the base that are going to hate this, we have to give them a lot before we do this so that we can say, look, we did the mass deportations. We fucking locked up James Comey. We went hard after the Antifa people that were rioting. We went hard after them. We passed the SAVE Act. It's a broad coalition. Okay. But no, instead it's like, let's not do any of that and then let's jump in and do this. You know that 20% of his base, and more importantly, independents are going to be like, what the fuck is this? If the midterms were today, there's a solid chance that Republicans not only get crushed in the House, but lose the Senate. Then that's it. Now nothing gets done. for 2 years, except Trump getting impeached. I don't get it. I agree with the message that, like, but the Democrats are worse. That I agree with. That's why I'll be voting Republican. I will be doing my best to push people in primaries all around the country. I will. For the Republican Party. But I'm sorry. Democrats are worse. That's not going to drive enthusiasm for independents and for core people that are needed for Republicans. Particularly when history shows you that a second-term president that controls the House and the Senate, they get crushed in the midterms. And that's what's going to happen. And the Mark Levins of the world are going to, how could it be? It's Nick Fuentes' fault. It's Matt Walsh's fault. If only they would have supported the Iran war. It's all the influencers. No, it's not. There's no one to blame but Trump and the Republicans. That's it. The very Republicans that were the most anti-Trump are getting everything they want out of the Trump presidency. And those that were the people that supported him initially are getting almost nothing. And we're told to just be like, well, yeah, what can you do? Trust us, that stuff you don't want is good. So vote for us. Okay. And it's like, I see it. And I argue with those people, and I'm like, don't become an accelerationist. You're still going to vote Republican. And I still will. And I'm going to make that case. I am. But I'm telling you right now, it ain't going to be enough. We're going to get crushed. Everybody knows it. There's got to be something to run on other than, well, at least we're not Democrats. No, that is objectively, if you're talking to me, that is objectively true. If the election was today, Republicans would get hammered. And you could live in delusional la-la world all you want. That's just the truth. It's not just one poll, it's all polls. It's not just poll. You can throw them all out. I could see in my area that is as pro-Trump as it gets, and people are just like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. It's pretty much it, consumer. It's not just Trump's doing nothing. It is overarchingly the Republicans, including Trump, is doing very little on key items. SAVE Act not getting passed. Mass deportations not occurring. In fact, Trump counter-signaling, we got to let up on some of this deportation talk. Minneapolis, we saw the guy that was the most harsh on deportation, like the majority of his base wants, Bovino, has now been let go. We pulled out of Minneapolis. We gave them a victory. The left-wing rioters are basically allowed to operate with impunity. Almost nothing's been done about any of them. They haven't even been able to capitalize narratively on things like the assassination of Charlie Kirk. People like Nick Shirley are leading the administration in finding evidence of corruption, which the administration's on the back foot on. I mean, Trump, he said things like, well, what about the 500,000 Chinese students? We need those to help the universities. The universities, who we should just let fucking die. Trump's propping up far left-wing universities that hate my way of life to bring in Chinese students who hate my way of life. Amazing. I get it. There are a lot of people I like. I'm doing a show tomorrow with Ryan Mullally. I like Ryan. Ryan's ecstatic that we attacked Iran. Great for him. I'm glad this administration's giving him something he can say. That's good. What's this administration? If I don't like this war, what am I getting from this administration? As far as I can see at this point, secure border, yes, and he's not a Democrat, is what I'm getting. Yeah, most of it's the rhetoric shit, but even if he would have lost the election, arguably that would have still happened. All that trans shit will be rolled back immediately, as soon as Democrats win. I think it's a mistake not to vote. I still think you should go vote Republican. He did give troops a little stimulus. Eh? And that's what I'll push for. I'm just telling you. Unless something radically changed, this ain't it. Whoever Trump's listening to right now, even if you think Trump's making the right moves. Who did I see say this the other day? Ben Shapiro. Maybe it's not politically popular, but it's the right thing, and that's brave. Good. I hope Trump's fine with being in prison the rest of his life, because that's going to be the cost. I hope it was worth it. Good luck to you, because that's what the Democrats are going to do when they take over. Was it worth it? He listened to the very people that want him out. Listen, I know I was giving Eric shit earlier about this. I finally saw someone say the truth. Shipwreck Crew said this, though he's sort of defending John Thune. The reason that Republicans won't vote to get rid of the filibuster or for a talking filibuster is that the dirty little secret is the filibuster helps them the most. Because there are not enough votes for things like the SAVE Act. That's the truth. They don't want to vote for it, but they don't have to tell their base that, who really wants it, and then look bad and get primaried and lose. Why? Because they could say, well, we would, but the Democrats, the filibuster, there's nothing we could do. If the Democrats called the bluff and said, okay, sure, get rid of the filibuster. Yep, we're all in. We won't filibuster. Go ahead. Just put it straight for a vote. It wouldn't pass. Then Republicans would have to explain to their constituents why not. John Thune and John Cornyn and Mitch McConnell and Murkowski and Susan Collins and huge swaths of the Republicans in the Senate, in the House, hate Donald Trump, want him in prison, and want the party to go back to Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan. That's what they want. They can't say that or they'll be ousted. So they pretend to support Trump while destroying his agenda by blaming Democrats, by sitting on their hands doing nothing, by having pro forma sessions so Trump can't have recess appointments, by saying we have to honor the blue slip, by saying we have to honor the filibuster. And in the back of their head, they're like, get this motherfucker, Democrats. Get him. Get him. Get this motherfucker jailed, out of our party forever. And Trump is so fucking stupid that the one issue that they want him to do, attack Iran, that's what he's doing. They're like, wow, this is amazing. We fucking hate everything this guy talks about. The one thing he wasn't very vocal about, attacking Iran, we actually convinced the dumb motherfucker to do. Great. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Have fun in prison. And I don't know. I don't know how the fuck you think Mark Levin or Ben Shapiro is going to lose sleep when Trump's relegated to the dustbin of history? They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They want George W. Bush neocon. That's what they want. They want CIA man, George H.W. Bush. That's who they want. They don't want outsider. They've had to pinch their nose for their audience and pretend they like the outsider. They don't like him. Now I'm willing to work with those people when it comes to attacking the enemy in front of my face, left-wing ideology, etc. I'm willing. And I'm not saying Trump has to be like, Nick Fuentes is the man, Tucker Carlson's the man. Fair enough. Say fuck them. Fine. Right now, if you had to say any voice out there, give me the voices that you think are in Donald Trump's ear. Give me an in-government voice and an outside government voice. Who do you think it'd be? I don't think Mitch McConnell's talking to much of anyone. McConnell hates Susie Wiles, definitely. I don't think Rubio's doing all that bad. Netanyahu, well, Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham. That's it. That's the two I'd say. Tune into Mark Levin's show. That's what Trump's thinking. That's why Trump, in his own words, telling you, tune into Mark Levin's show. I don't think JD. I think JD's finding himself in a tight position. My gut is JD's not that happy about this Iran thing. Just watch Mark Levin. That's it. That's what Trump's thinking. Here's another thing, right? And then, let me read Super Chats first. It's only fair. GG, thank you for the gifted membership, my friend. Always appreciated. Crow Crisis gives 5. What a G. And then the Great Wade Boggs. I'm speaking now. We will get there, I promise. Thank you. What a legend. Barry Incorporated $10 says, hey, Rob, I've always been a probably Trump guy, but I'm definitely not enjoying this situation. Best thing I can imagine the men doing is hurrying up and evaporating wherever they need to and get the fuck out. I agree. Yep. Collector Eyeball. $10 says, sup, Rob. Sorry I didn't see the beginning. What'd I miss? A humorous cave story and me accusing people of being bought and paid for by Israel, which is fun. Zach Kelpie, $5 says, Republicans are getting trounced anyway, but Iran certainly doesn't help. I agree, even though I support it reluctantly. Yeah, it's not politically popular. The problem, like I was talking to Average Debate Enjoyer on X. He's like, well, it's not Iran, it's the economy, which is true. The economy is going to have a far bigger influence than Iran. The problem is the economy is going to suffer because of Iran. You could be like, well, the reason is Trump's failures in the domestic policy area. Agreed. But the reason for those failures is the hyper-focus on foreign policy. Especially foreign policy that's not that popular. Perry Incorporated $10 says, I sure thought the assumption was that it would be a 2-year administration where all pushed all the important shit before the midterms, and then the second 2 years would be lame and unproductive. Well, I talked about this months ago. I said, forget about Trump, just take the Republicans in Congress. They've done nothing for a year, and the problem is campaigns take about a year now. So now we're in almost April. We're heading right into campaign season if we haven't already been there for a month. So Now we're taking a 2-week vacation. And then Perry again. $10 his last one. It's astounding me how dumb the neocons are. Best they're trying to open the door for democratic radicalism. And more likely, in my opinion, it's uniparty BS, meaning they want the radicalism. I agree. I think it's uniparty shit. Yeah. Now listen. I've said this a long time about Trump. The way he talks is a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's refreshing. I don't mind the leader of the free world being like, hey, fuck you. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Remember when he said that? I didn't mind that. A little real. And I'm no tone policer. I'm not. And for better or worse, and I know it seems unfair, it works for Trump. But the reason is it's authentic for Trump. Like when you see Gavin Newsom, someone who's his image is so curated, come out and being like, fuck that. It's so forced and fake. It's like watching Elizabeth Warren or Pete Buttigieg try to drink a beer. It's just so fake. Or Hillary Clinton talk about hot sauce in her purse. Like, if Jasmine Crockett's talking about hot sauce in her purse, I don't like Jasmine Crockett at all, but you're like, I believe that, okay. The inauthenticity is jarring that so many of these people have. So if you're just authentically, like Trump's like what I would say is like, you know, your rude uncle. He's like authentically like a dick joke guy. You can see Trump being like, but you know, Khomeini had a small dick. You could hear him saying that. But if you heard like Al Gore say that, you'd be like, what? And you might say that's fair or not, but I'm just telling you that's how it is. But whatever you think, okay, I can accept that some of that shit comes with Trump. But it's getting out of hand. Like, I'm sorry, am I the only one that, like, Megyn Kelly and Mark Levin are fighting and Megyn Kelly's, like, calling him micro penis and Mark Levin's calling her deep throat? And it's like, that's fine if it's Rob Noerr and Andrew Wilson arguing with Destiny and Hassan. But it's like, these are people that are actually influential into our government. And this was the coup de grace for me. Now, I understand that there's some beef going on of this dude allegedly stalking Dan Bongino or some bullshit like that. But he puts out caution, mating with close relatives may produce results like this. I mean, man, you were like number 2 at the FBI. And not much got done, dude. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's time for humorous inbreeding jokes from the former number 2 at the FBI. I'm just throwing it out there. What the fuck are we doing? It's like the lesson from Trump was like, oh, it's the style. That's what it is. Tell people to eat shit and fuck off. That's what's popular. As opposed to like the message and what it represented. It's so ludicrous. It's just, it's mind-blowing to me. It's like, I can't believe I'm saying this. But it's like, man, it would be refreshing to just have like a boring guy up there like, hey man, this shit's corrupt. Or not even shit, this stuff's corrupt. And we're not going to do, I mean, what, I'm clamoring for like someone like Victor Davis Hanson or something. There's just like a sophisticated, like fucking professor type. It's like, what are we doing? I'm still willing to work with Dan Bongino, and Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi, and Nick Fuentes, and Ben Shapiro, and Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly. and the folks over at Fox News and Matt Walsh and Myron Gaines and whatever conservative fucking lady Myron would be arguing with at the time. And the people that accuse me of taking money from Israel. I see my country turning in to the United Kingdom. I see my country rapidly approaching a place where there's a point of no return, where the demographic shift and the cultural shift is so significant that things will just exacerbate further and further and further. I see us getting to a point where the answer becomes to become more and more insular. If you're white, if you're Christian, if you're male, and to be hated more and more for the color of our skin, for our religion. I see our rights to slowly at first, but then more rapidly begin to be chipped away. We're already seeing it. First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment. I see the American dream becoming a thing of the past and the imagination. I see the people that are out for blood and vengeance coming into power. And unlike Trump and his crew, they're going to do it. They're actually going to do it. And eventually, that could lead to a point where there's not going to be able to be an easy return. And I'd like to stop that. And Iran wasn't part of that threat. And neither was Venezuela. And neither is Ukraine. Or Russia. That's right here at home. And I see, instead of what once was a hyper-focus on dealing with that, with a bunch of people that had all sorts of disagreements coming together to acknowledge it, I see it being fractured in a million ways. And I see that being laughed all the way to the fucking bank from the very people that want to take our country in that direction. They love it. They know it's working. They're going to keep doing it. I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. I'm willing to work with who I can in order to stop that from occurring. There will come a time where there will be a time for those of us in what would hopefully be that sort of broad coalition to have serious disagreements. But that time is not now. I watched them kill Charlie Kirk, and half the country fucking laugh at him. And I can't motivate people. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was of incredible usefulness to the people on the left and the globalists. It achieved exactly what they had hoped it would. Mass infighting on the right. A vacuum. Who's filled it? Candace Owens? Tucker Carlson? Ben Shapiro? Matt Walsh? Nick Fuentes? Little pieces of it all? I saw powerful people who I might not agree with on everything, or at least allied on these important things. I watched the world's richest man, Elon Musk, say, yeah, I'm in on this. I watched the most powerful podcaster in the world, Joe Rogan, be like, yeah, I'm in on this. They're both gone. Elon, not so much. Rogan, quickly getting there. Do I look sad? I don't know. I had a damn good weekend. We're only at 53% of the goal. Of course I'm sad. So, I don't know. when I see Megyn Kelly calling Mark Levine micro penis, and by the way, I've never liked Mark Levine. I don't give a fuck. I'd still work with him. I'm blackpilling myself. But at some point, it's like, I'll be like, yeah, I don't like this war. I think Israel has too much influence. I wish we could get back to focusing on like the radical left in this country, blah, blah, blah. And I alienate 50% of the audience just by saying that. 25% is like, you're an anti-Semite, and 25% are like, Zionist. And I'm just like, what an uphill battle. What a fucking uphill battle. Foreign policy is no place for nice guys. Good advice. Love the arrogance. Tough guys like you know what foreign policy. By the way, Caravaggio, where do you stand? Iran attack a good thing? You don't seem like a nice guy. You must be one of those tough guys, right? So what do you think? Go ahead, Caravaggio. By all means. Iran attack, good thing? I assume you would say, tough guy like you would say that. Of course, real tough guy like you, thanks to that tough foreign policy decision, we're going to get less deportations that nice guys like me want. You know. Because you're a tough guy, resulting in no deportations. Tough guy. Leave it to us, the tough guys. You're not a nice guy. Head over there, man. You look like you take some shit out, man. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So a tough guy and a genius. We just don't understand the demented, stupid, evil people. So leave it to us tough guys, not you nice guys. You're anti-war. You sound like a nice guy. Why don't you shut your fucking mouth and leave the tough guys take care of shit, right? Right? Anti-war? What a nice guy. Stop talking about foreign policy, right? Fuck you, arrogant pricks. Nice guys like you, stay out of it. Fuck you. No shit all. Fucking loser. Whoa, you sound real tough, man. You did it. Not like us nice guys. Take it easy, Victor. Why would you say something like that? I sound naive as fuck? For what? Having the same position on the Iran war as you? That I'm against it? Or are you going to say, I didn't say that, I just said I'm anti-war? Yeah, the vague post game. My God. I swear to God, like, one of the things that always get me inside. It's like, is this guy a bot? Or are there people that really communicate like this? Like, so in order is post-war, stick to domestic policy. Foreign policy is no place for nice guys like you. I'm anti-war. MAGA is cooked. Like 3 non sequiturs. Do people really talk like that? Is that... Hey, all right. Hey, you're too smart for me, man. This isn't a place for tough guys like you, so see you later. I don't know what to say. Third world speak, is that what it is? I don't know. There was a guy in Kick doing that the other day. Like, I was like, I felt like, it's like I was watching a movie with like every other scene taken out. I'm like, I understand the words you're saying, but I don't understand how they like fit in. I don't know. Anyways, more super chats. Birdie the dog, $20. It's good to see you, Robin Chat. Hope all is well with you and yours. Also, big shout out to my cousin who got married today. Congratulations. What a great start to his life, man. Marriage, I recommend it for everyone. Find someone you love and get married. Do it within the eyes of God in the church, though. Right? Don't just marry someone for the sake of it. But if you really find a partner that you connect with and you do it for the right reasons and get married, it's tremendous. It really is. Collector Eyeball, 20 gifted subs. Thank you so much. Or memberships. Thank you. Really appreciate it, man. Caleb, $5 says, I wish I could send more. Thank you, man. And Intel Wild, $5 says, Rob, I'm curious, what do you think happened with the USS Liberty? Never heard your full opinion on accident or I think it was intentional. Or at least at some point they covered it up knowing what was going on. But I don't have super strong feelings on it. All right. By popular demand, we'll now read a selection from the hit book, I'm Speaking Now. Black women shared their truth in 101 stories of love, courage, and hope. Now, I have not picked one out. I just randomly opened. Page 37, The Fight to Save the Future. This is the 9th story. Let's see how long this is. Looks about 3 pages. And this is by Aya DeLeon. I'm Speaking Now. All right. I've not pre-read this, so let's see how it goes. The fight to save the future. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. That is from Amanda Gorman in The Hill We Climb. All right. Here we go. I swear to you, I did not pre-read this. I randomly opened. Okay, you ready? First sentence. All right, you ready? Originally, I went to the Afro Comic Con. Oh, man. Woo, we're starting off strong. Okay. Woo. Composure. Here we go. Originally, I went to the Afro Comic Con because I thought it would be a good place for a date with my man. He's an Afro-Caribbean fantasy novel reading. Oh, that's a comma. You ready? Here's her man. He's an Afro-Caribbean fantasy novel reading, World of Warcraft playing, Star Trek and Star Wars watching, Magic the Gathering card collecting, comic book page flipping type brother. Let me read that sentence again. There's a lot of commas. You ready? He's an Afro-Caribbean fantasy novel reading, World of Warcraft playing, Star Trek and Star Wars watching, Magic the Gathering collecting, comic page, book page flipping type brother. 6 things. Damn. Real jack of all trades here. No Pokemon cards? Come on. Although we've been together for almost 20 years, so an old guy for this. He's at least 40, I would guess. Damn. We've been together 20 years. When we hang at home, you might find us cuddled up reading very different books. I'm a sister who writes heist and spy fiction. Okay, so if you're just joining us, her man is a brother who plays Magic the Gathering and reads Star Trek books. She's a sister who writes heist and spy fiction novels. Woo, what a family. Oh, man. I better get a drink here. It's fucking amazing. Oh, this is the best purchase I've ever made. Best $3 I've ever spent. Now that you know who our brother and sister are here. Oh. Jeez. How is it possible? Each sentence is better. Ready? The only movie we've seen together in the theater of the last decade was... All right, anyone want to take a guess? What movie? This book's written in like 2021. So the Star Trek, Star Wars brother and the heist spy fiction sister, they only saw one movie together in the past, what did it say, decade. Someone could get it. Oh, look at that. Bam. Yes, Pandemic Slayer nails it. That's right. The Black Panther. We continue. The only movie we've seen together in theater in the last decade was Black Panther. All right. Nice. I've much love for the sci-fi fantasy writers of color because these folks are holding a powerful vision of black people in the future. Okay, all right. Whew. So I took my man to Afro Comic Con in 2017. Just after Hurricane Maria had devastated Puerto Rico. I'm a black Puerto Rican. Oh, fuck. Okay. So that year, I began to see everything through the lens of the climate crisis. Oh my fucking God. Oh, oh okay. Who would have thought? Oh my gosh. How is it possible that people like this exist? It's just one after the other. If she mentions being a vegan, I'm gonna shit myself. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. Whew. All right, calm down. We gotta get through it. I'm not gonna make it. Okay. I'm a black Puerto Rican. So that year I began to see everything through the lens of the climate crisis. So while I was surrounded by black people talking about superpowers and heroism in the future, I was also thinking about the climate emergency. She sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, honey, come on, they're doing a Black Panther exhibit. But what about climate change? What is Wakanda doing to fight climate change? I'm sure everyone at the Afro Comic Con were like, right. Yeah. Whew. Here we go. Scientists agree that human beings, especially those of us in the U.S. and the West, have been burning fossil fuels, and the carbon in the air is trapping heat. It's warming the planet, causing sea levels to rise, and all kinds of disasters. More to come. Scientists are saying we have to make drastic changes in cutting fossil fuel emissions if we hope to stand a chance of having a planet whose air and water and land can actually support human habitation moving into the future. Things have heightened to a state of emergency. It's like an episode of Star Trek. Oh no, Captain! The planet's gonna blow. Oh, yeah. Captain Kirk, stop hitting up on that hot alien chick, and we gotta solve climate change. But unlike Star Trek, we only have one Earth, and we can't tour the galaxy to find a better planet, one that's more stable for human habitation. We need to take action necessary to save this one. I have to be honest. No. When I was coming up, I didn't see a lot of black people talking about the environment. No! Listen, guys, I gotta be honest with you. I didn't hear a lot of black folks talk about the environment when I was growing up. What a tragedy. No shit. Whew, okay. Some of us did talk about pollution in our neighborhoods, the rates of asthma, but it often seemed that the environment wasn't our issue. The climate movement wasn't our movement. We're tired. Even they're fatigued. We're tired. We're working on racial and economic and gender justice. That's what the black community's been up to. Oh, my mistake. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, okie dokie. Oh. Our communities are fighting so many issues of danger and survival today. But all of that is changing. Many movements are coming together to fight for climate justice. Because in order to solve the issues of climate, we need justice-based solutions that are so massive, they'll also solve many other types of inequities. That's true, though. I mean, if we push Green New Deal type shit, wouldn't have to worry about fucking racism. We'd all be cannibals eating each other to survive. So when I stood at Afro Comic Con and saw a wide array of black people cosplaying comic book characters and superheroes, I had that expansive feeling that we could be anything. You know, as a black woman, I was worried about climate change until I saw a bunch of black dorks dressed up like Marvel characters. Then I knew we were going to be all right. Black Deadpool pinched my ass, and I was like, you know what? We're going to be okay. Oh, man. Whew. Black writers of science fiction and fantasy are creating visions so black people can see ourselves in the future. I think we need to take it a step further. No shit, really? We're being called upon to save the future. We need to emulate the people of... You're not going to believe me. Oh. Yeah, that's right. She found the answer. She did it. She found the answer. They did it. That's the answer. Oh, now this black Puerto Rican spy thriller writer who also is deeply concerned about climate change. She's worried about it. Her nerd black boyfriend takes her to Afro Comic Con and she's like, Wakanda. There it is. The answer's been in front of us the whole time. It's really that simple. It's just we need to find vibranium somewhere in an island in Africa. And then we're good to go. Everything's good from there. I can't believe it. I can't believe she said it. All right, let's here we go. We need to emulate the people of Wakanda and imagine our power outside of the limits that racism has set for us. Because we all know that inside we are that powerful. We do all know that. I'm telling you, people. Oh my God. I can't believe. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to read this sentence. And I just want to stress that the word we, both letters are capitalized. So I'll try to enunciate it that way. What do you think she's going to say? I'll read the sentence before, and then I'll start this sentence, and someone tell me what they think she's going to say. Okay. Because we all know inside we are that powerful. I'm telling you, people, we are, what do you think? Any guesses? Black people, we are. Now, what was she talking about? We are superior? No. Okay, she was talking about Wakanda. It's not Wakanda. It's not Kangs. You might, I'll give you a clue. You have to know your comic book lore a little. So she was referencing Wakanda. She's talking about how powerful they need to be like Wakanda. She's powerful. We are. Is anyone? Shit. That's not Groot. No. Wakanda. What's Wakanda about? What makes Wakanda powerful? It's not the Black Panthers. No. Not the Warrior. No. No. It's not Yakub. That would be good. Oh, Mr. Nails it. It's the answer is vibranium. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Because we all know that inside we are that powerful. I'm telling you, people, we are the vibranium. I'm not joking. Listen. Oh my gosh. Okay. There it is. We are the vibranium. Oh my God. Oh, whew. Oh man. Oh, okay. We still got a full page to go. We are the vibranium. We was Kangs. We are the vibranium. Okay. All right. There's one particular shred of hope I've been clinging to lately. The hero's legacy. Joseph Campbell talks about the monomyth, a story that's appeared in every culture on the planet. And it's about a reluctant hero who gets called upon to leave their safe, comfortable world and venture into an unknown world. This is the plot of so many of our favorite stories. Star Wars, Moana, Black Panther. And in the so-called darkest hour of the story, the hero has lost hope. The crew's turning on each other, the power of the enemy seems unstoppable, and the hero wants to give up. Really, the hero has given up. They're just going to stop fighting and let the evil forces win. But someone comes along and tells them that they could do it. Because it turns out that after all the physical obstacles the hero or band of heroes had fought, the final obstacle is within, their hopelessness or guilt or shame or fear of inadequacy holding them back. And then some kind of mentor or ancestor or magical force comes and tells them they could do it. They could fight and they could win. And I choose to believe that human beings in every culture in the world have been telling that story for thousands of years because it's our story. Because we are those heroes and because we could win if we set aside our hopelessness and fight. An Afro Comic Con. Okay. I looked around at all those fabulous black, capitalized, black people in their cosplay outfits, and I realized we're going to have to come out from behind those books and the gaming consoles and the laptops. Now listen, this isn't just unique to black people. And I'm a nerd, so don't get me wrong. But imagine, whatever your culture is, Asian, white, black, fucking Hispanic, whatever, who cares, right? And you're like, I was really pessimistic about our society until I see all these heroes cosplaying superheroes. Finally, when I went to Comic-Con, I was like, here's people that are going to get shit right. Are you fucking kidding me? What next? I was really depressed until I went to the furry convention, and I was like, these are people that are going to get shit done. That's right. We're also vibranium, damn it. We're going to have to join the rebellion. Oh, no shit. The resistance, the movement in real life. Okay, we're going to have to join the rebellion, the resistance, the movement IRL dash in real life. Okay. And we can make noise on the internet. We also have to organize and strategize and build a movement that is stronger than the forces that want to destroy the planet. My man and I went to Afro Comic Con that first year, and the second year we brought our kid. Now we go every year. I've even started writing some science fiction and fantasy of my own. But the biggest takeaway is that black people can't do anything, and that the future's in our hands. Well said, Aya DeLeon. Amazing work. Amazing. Aya DeLeon. Let's see if we can find a little about her. Teaches creative writing at UC Berkeley, Kensington. Oh, I'm sorry, UC Berkeley. Kensington Book publishes her award-winning feminist heist series. Oh, no shit. Here you go. And her standalone novels, A Spy in the Struggle, and The Queen of Urban Prophecy. She has written for Harper's Bazaar, Essence, and Guernica. She's currently at work on a Black Latina teen spy girl series. Here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, there was another chapter of I'm Speaking Now. Black women share their truth in 101 stories of love, courage, and hope. Now, I like to think there's a black woman watching that's like, what the fuck is this? I hope. There's no way that represents the entirety of the black community. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm a black lady. I'm really bummed out about climate change. I think we're all fucked. Till I went to Afro Comic Con. I was like, wow, if these dudes could dress up like Wolverine and the Black Panther, surely they could solve climate change. It took them days to sew that suit together. Oh, man. Oh. Baxter Boy, $5. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Jolly Feets, $10 says, for the Afro Comic Con ticket fund. Yes, I'll have to make my way there. I assume if I dress up like Deadpool or something, they wouldn't know, right? Chop, $20. Thank you. And Hunter Killer, $2 says, I'm speaking now. Well, we're watching a movie, so. And that brings me to my final story of the night. And that was an anecdotal story. Now that I pissed off all of my audience, even my good friend Level 4 Lobster, we pissed him off. Troops in Iran right now, is that true? Or is that speculation? I think it's only a matter of time. All right. I remind you that this Austin Hall character, if we don't get to 357, he's going to win. We can't have that. So I went down to Kentucky, took my son, my wife, her family, went down for a truck show that her brother was built a truck that was in it. Very nice. We went to this cave. I already told the cave story. And then the next day we went to Dave and Buster's. And my son, a big fan. In particular, he liked this Godzilla game. It's like a VR game. So you sit in this vehicle, and then you put the VR goggles on, and then you're holding almost like a turret. And then you see through the VR, it's you and your partner, so it's me and Hank. And there's like Godzilla and other monsters, and you're shooting them up. It's fun. He liked that game a lot. And there were other games he liked, but that's the one he liked the most. So we ate, and he had just a hamburger with pickles. It's fine. Everything good. We're having fun. There was birthday parties there. And a lot of most of those birthday parties were people of color that were there. And the very first thing I noticed that's absolutely fucking enraging, the entire place reeked of weed, which is fucking ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. My son's 5. Most of these kids running around look between the 5 to 10 age. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Just reeked of it. And I was just like, what a fucking shame. I'm going to assume it wasn't a 5 to 10-year-old, right? So it was some adult somewhere going to a place, and almost everyone there was there with kids. I didn't really see anyone like teenagers by themselves or adults by themselves. You're showing up to a kid's birthday party, getting high? It's fucking ridiculous. And listen, I don't have a problem with people want to smoke weed in their own home and shit. And I'm used to be full libertarian on it. Fuck it, booze is legal. Why shouldn't weed be? I think you could get booze at Dave & Buster's. So why shouldn't you be allowed to smoke weed? Now I'm tired of it. I'm sorry. To the point where now I gotta fucking smell weed with my 5-year-old who's asking what's that smell? Fuck all that. Fuck it. No. Fuck you. You couldn't wait 2 hours till you got home? Outrageous. That's number one. Number two, the lack of supervision was fucking astounding. Now, I'm not going to fucking shit on a little kid 10 years or younger. And I know how my son would be if I just let him have free reign. My son liked the Godzilla game. He would have sat at that Godzilla game and no other kid would have had a turn. But I'm an adult, and I sit there with them and say, you've had your turn, now get up and leave other kids have a turn, and we'll go play something else, and we'll come back later. Wait, what? Did I make the decision to call that nice dude brain rot who called in and carried your whole stream? I thought that was low. I don't know, man. We'll see you. Is weed legal? This was in Kentucky, so I don't know. I don't know what the weed laws are in Kentucky. Good point. I just don't care. Yeah, I don't want my kids smelling weed. I don't think that's unreasonable in a public place. Fuck off. The kids with the lack of supervision. And they'd be like some of them were up on so there was Mario Kart where there's 4 cars. you know, and they got like a seat that you sit in, you know, it's like a race seat. And there's like kids just fucking like playing it. And then you can tell it's their friends that are just like rocking the seat, like trying to knock it down. And then there were kids with like inflatable, like one of the prizes you could win is like a big inflatable surfboard or a big inflatable banana. And they're just like beating the shit out of each other. Like 3 or 4 of them just in the center, which is, I don't care. Like, they're kids, they're having fun. But then there was like a little, like 3-year-old toddler walking with their mom, and they smack the toddler, and the toddler falls down and starts crying. And it's like, where are the parents? Where are they? But for all you racists out there, worst thing I saw wasn't black people. It was a white lady, and it was an Asian lady. It was the things that pissed me off the most. The Asian lady had both the white lady and the Asian lady had black kids. The Asian lady decided there was a game, it was Top Gun Maverick. And it was like it was like you're an airplane. I don't know, but there's 2 seats. Most of the games, there's 2 seats, right? So there's a Halo game where there's 4 seats on that one. And then there's like a Walking Dead game, and there's Luigi's Mansion. This was Top Gun Maverick. And Hank wanted to try it. This fucking Asian lady and her daughter didn't even play the game, sat in that fucking game for 40 minutes, just sat there on their phones. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? There's literal chairs. You're sitting in the fucking game, and it's not just my kid, it's like all these kids are like, can we try? I'm busy. Like little kids there for fucking birthday party. You're not gonna get out so some fucking little kid whose birthday it is can try the game? It's ridiculous. I was fucking outraged. I wanted to be like, what the fuck are you doing, lady? Go grab a fucking chair. What are you doing? And then the older, like, grandma, this fucking enraged me. So we got a pass where it was like you could play all day, right? And so there comes a time where it's time to go home, though, right? So we probably played games for like an hour and a half. And my guy you could tell he's getting a little tired, a little cranky. All right, man, let's go. You get prizes at the end. You get certain tickets they just put in your little card, and then you go, oh, we got 1,000 tickets. Then you can get that fucking little toy there, whatever, right? Okay, great. So he's like, yeah, let's go get our toy. Can I play the Godzilla game one more time? I said, okay, one more time. We go over, and there's 2 kids on it, and then there's 2 kids waiting, and they're very well behaved. And they were from the party where it was like it was like a bunch of black kids. It was one of their birthday. These kids were tremendous. They're very nice. And they're being patient, and they're waiting. So I said, let's wait in line behind them. 2 of them end, next 2 go up. Very polite, but the game probably takes 4 minutes to go through a round of it. So, 8 minutes is sort of a long time to wait for a little guy. But I'm going to get in the game and play it with Hank. And so we wait, and, you're in line. 2 kids in it, 2 kids in front of you. Then the 2 kids get out. The next 2 kids get in. So we walk up close to the machine. But you're not, like, touching it. And the machine, by the way, it kind of, like, rotates. Like, it moves a little. So when you got the VR goggles, it feels like you're, like, flying or something. 2 kids get out of the seat. And I'm like, okay, Hank. And this lady, just big as shit. Excuse me. Puts her arm like this. And puts her kid in this fucking machine in front of me. And I was just like, and she turns around and she's like, what? And my wife, before I could say anything, Courtney was there, was like, we were waiting in line for that. And she's like, oh, I didn't know. She turns back around. She doesn't even have money for her kid. He just puts the goggles on and he's just watching the game. So I just stood there like this far away from her, just stared at her, was like, and Hank's like crying, can we try now? I was like, you have to wait your turn. And finally she's like, okay, fine. I guess we'll go somewhere else. After like 2 minutes. I was fucking enraged. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Now, this little kid, if he had done it, I'd have been like, I mean, it's a little kid. You'd be like, hey, buddy, we were actually waiting. Or would you like to play the game with my son? We could, right? But an adult, a fucking adult to do that. I could not fucking believe it. And then, like, the whole time, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Is this people smoking weed? Fucking, again, the kids are shitty, some of them, but I can handle it. That's how kids are. There ought to be a fucking parent there. Like, what are you doing? No. You don't fucking do that shit. You wait in line. And it was like these parents didn't give a fuck. Whatever. They're off doing their own thing on their fucking phone or whatever they're doing. I was quite pissed off. And that says, like, I'm glad I don't fucking live in a place with a lot of people. Like here, when I go to public shit around here, it's like if we go to the public playground, everybody's polite. Everybody's there with their fucking parents. They're cool. And if a kid's acting a fool, someone reins them in. It's so fucking aggravating. I'm like, I don't understand. I couldn't live like that. Like, from the bottom of my heart, I don't know how the people do it that live in cities. We walk out that Dave & Buster's, and it's like, you know, I'm guessing we had to walk 2 rows over and then like 30 rows deep where our car was parked. So a 2-minute walk to the car. It wasn't like an outrageous parking lot or anything. 2 groups of people we came across, both of them speaking languages that weren't English. In fucking Kentucky, the middle of Kentucky. I'm just like, really? I mean, maybe that makes me a fucking racist, xenophobic asshole. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm too stupid to learn a different language. Je parle français un peu. But I was just like, what the fuck? And again, I'm not disparaging everyone who was black there. Like I said, the kids that were there, they're like, their parents weren't around. But these kids, these black kids that were there, like the one group of party, like 8 or 9, super polite, super fucking nice kids. It's the parents. And you're like, what kind of lesson are we teaching here? They weren't French. One was definitely his Spanish they were speaking. The other did not sound like Spanish to me. I don't know if it was Vietnamese or some shit. I don't know. It's disappointing. It's just disappointing. That's all. It's disappointing to go somewhere with like your kid. It's like, what's that smell, Dad? I don't know. Just in your face fucking weed as soon as you walk in. And that fucking, oh, you had to smell something. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if it was me. I mind that it's my 5-year-old fucking kid. That's what I mind. I'd also mind if they had fucking partial nudity up on the screen too. Would you have to see something? Yeah, I don't want my kid seeing or smelling that shit. Yeah. Fuck off. You know, we still had fun. And Hank was super pumped and he wants to go back. He's like, can we get this Godzilla game in our house? I was like, yeah, this probably costs like $30,000 for the VR fucking Godzilla game. I was like, that's a lot of whip songs. I don't think we're going to get there. Enough to buy the Godzilla fucking VR game. Is Dave & Buster's aimed at adults? I mean, to the fact where there was 3 kids' birthday parties going on. Half the games they have set up there are like kids' games. But there's definitely like a sports bar theme to it as well. Oh, Top Gun Maverick on console. There you go. I heard that the PlayStation console is like $900 now. Is that true? I just fucking, I hate that fucking weed thing. I hate it. I hate you can't walk through a fucking city street without smelling weed. I fucking hate it. I just hate it. I'm not saying you're the worst person in the world, but I don't want to fucking deal with it. Yeah, that's it, Mr. P. That was the name of it. Yeah. Godzilla Kaiju Wars VR. That was it. A 50. Yeah, it's not happening. It was fun though. I recommend it. It was a lot of fun. It's up to 650 now. Yeah, okay. It was I enjoyed the Godzilla VR game. I thought my son would get a little scared of it maybe. Because it definitely could make you a little dizzy feeling, maybe, and it's like VR monsters like attacking you. He laughed his ass off. He thought it was great. But there you go. David Buster's where inner city youths go out on Saturday night to air out their squabbles. In Pittsburgh, there's a place called Kennywood. It's like a theme park. I believe they have like, I could be wrong. I might be talking out my ass, but America's oldest wooden roller coaster. I think it's called the Jackrabbit. I don't know if they still have it. I remember going there as like in high school. But when I was a kid, you'd go to Kennywood. It was cool. And it was like, like a cheap, I think, I could be wrong. What was the name of that Michael Cera movie? Where he works like in a theme park? I think maybe part of it was filmed in Kennywood. So it gives you that sort of vibe. If you get, what the fuck was the name of that movie? I can't think of it. No, not Zombieland. Though there was a theme park in that. Was it Juno? Am I screwing it up? Is it not Michael Cera? Anyways, I thought there was a movie about these kids working at a, Adventureland? Was that it? Let's see. Yeah, Adventureland. Might as well look up and see. If this was connected. Maybe it was bullshit. Yeah, I was right. How about that? I thought for a second I was talking out my ass. The 2009 film Adventureland was primarily filmed at Kennywood Park, an iconic amusement park in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, just outside Pittsburgh. Although the movie set in a fictional amusement park named Adventureland, the real-life Kennywood Park served as the main backdrop. Yeah, there you have it. So if you've ever seen Adventureland, that's sort of Kennywood. It's got that sort of like a small, old-timey amusement park. It's small. Well, Cedar Point's way bigger. Like Cedar Point's like got like tons and tons of roller coasters. Kennywood's more small time. But when I was growing up, Kennywood was a cool place to go for kids. It was like a cool treat. It's Jesse Eisenberg. They're the same. Jesse Eisenberg, Michael Cera. Very similar characters in my mind. Anyways, now it's like people be getting shot and shit at Kennywood. It's fucking like it's brutal. Like but But there were like articles where people were like, yeah, don't take your kids to Kennywood anymore. Let's try Grok and see if they can. Got any articles about. There was like, I remember a couple years ago, there was a shooting. Grok's really thinking this one through. It's like, huh? They might make multiple copies of coaster designs. I don't know. How did I go from Pennsylvania to Kentucky? I drove there. That's Iowa. If you mean how did we get from there, we were talking about Dave and Buster's and then different amusement parks and stuff. August 2025, fights broke out 2 consecutive weekends at Kennywood's 21 and over events where they served alcohol. Online brawls, including one involving multiple women punching each other to the ground. Parks manager announced the immediate cancellation of all 21 and over zero tolerance policy. Any involved face bans. 2022, the shooting at Phantom Fall Fest. Gunfire erupted at 10:46, 10:49 p.m. 3 people were shot in the legs. 2 15-year-old boys. Panic ensued. Guests ran for the fence. The fence were trampled. 15-year-old was charged. But it became known that like they had to beef up security and shit because our local papers would say there were a lot of youths. A lot of youths that were scrapping at Kennywood. And that sometimes happens when too many youths get around. So you had to watch yourself. You go to Kennywood with your little kid. Make sure that the youths aren't scrapping it up. You know, that's a fucking shame. Who wants to deal with that? You know, as far as the theme parks that I've been to, I think the best theme, like Cedar Point in Ohio, had the best roller coasters I thought that I'd ever been to. But as far as like the general fun and atmosphere, I thought that Universal Studio was the best I'd ever been to. Now, this was years ago, but they had a whole like Harry Potter exhibit that I'm not even a big Harry Potter fan, and I just thought it was cool as shit. Like, the whole place, like the places you'd eat food were like, potion shop where you get a fucking soda or something. It comes in a crazy, like, and I mean, I just thought it was cool shit. They had dudes that were like the Blues Brothers that were running around. I thought that was cool. Like, I don't know. I would love to take Hank there someday. I think it would be cool. They have Mario Land now? Oh, yeah. VR Simpsons? Okay. But yeah, that I just remember thinking like, holy shit, this Harry Potter thing's cool as shit. And like they have a bunch of like, employees that are paid to be like actors dressed up like them, and they look like they're having a blast. Like running around like fucking wizards and shit, like doing fake wizard battles. I didn't see Black Snape. Now maybe Black Snape will be there. And I didn't see any trans. Just saying. J.K. Rowling, maybe he's cracking the whip. No trans. Granted, this was probably 12 years ago, but still. I didn't know they had Mario Land. See, now maybe I can talk Hank. Oh, I can't wait for Black Snape, man. Thank you, Eric. I'm glad I'm speaking now. I should have started with that before I pissed off half my audience. Did you ever watch the show The First 48? I love The First 48, by the way. if you haven't, the first 48 is, it's like, it supposedly follows like real homicide detectives trying to solve like homicide crimes, right? And so it, each season's like different cities they're in or some shit. In one of the seasons, wherever they're at, some city. Now, I begin by saying this probably shouldn't be a laughing matter because someone was the victim of a homicide. And that's not funny. That sucks. And prayers to the family of that victim. However, the the perpetrator was a man that went by the name of Black James. And it's not funny. I don't know why I found this so funny. But apparently he killed this woman, and witnesses were like the night before or something, right? He had gone up to this woman and he had thought that she was like talking shit on him. And he said to her, "You best ask around about Black James. You know about Black James." And I don't know why that stuck with me, but for like a solid year and a half, anytime my wife, like, something would come up and be like, "Who ate the last Snickers?" I'd be like, "You best ask around about Black James. That fucking Black James. They must have let him out of prison. Probably some Soros DA let Black James out, and the motherfucker broke into our house and ate the last Snickers bar. Son of a bitch. That motherfucking Black James." My wife was not a fan of Black James. She didn't really care for him. This son of a bitch was doing everything. He forgot to fill up the gas tank on the mower one time when I was going to go mow. Yeah, son of a bitch. Black James. Terrible. This is not good. This is not good. This guy's up to all kinds of fucking shenanigans. That's right. If I don't get a super chat in the next 4.8 minutes, the chances of meeting the goal go down 50%. Now, man, if you should watch, if you ever have any questions about how to fucking deal with law enforcement, like, if you ever find, listen, don't fucking commit heinous crimes, right? Just don't. Don't. But one thing I learned from that show, well, two things. One is the like badass detectives that you think, like, I think of like a Dick Tracy looking son of a bitch, like with the trench coat, fucking in the pouring down rain, smoking a cigarette. And like a lot of these awesome detectives are the nerdiest looking motherfuckers you'd ever see. And it's not that they're super smart, right? It's not like you're picturing like Dexter or something. Like, they certainly have forensics and shit, right? But 99% of the cases, 99% is because someone can't shut their fucking mouth. That's it. The cases where they bring someone in and they're like, "We know it's this dude. We're going to talk to him." And they're like, "You want to talk to?" And he's like, "Lawyer." They never solve those ones. Like 80% of the time, they're like, "Well, fuck, there's nothing we could do." That's it. It's that simple, lawyer. And they're just like, "Shit." And they'll be going in there with all kinds of shit. Your buddy in the other room is fucking giving up. "Lawyer." Ugh, fuck. Sometimes they'll call for a lawyer and then they'll get antsy. And they'll be like, "Nah, I changed my mind." It's like, "No, you stupid son of a bitch. What are you doing? Just shut up." "Yeah, I'm not talking to you, lawyer." That's it. "Don't you care about the victim, blah, blah, blah." "Lawyer." That's it. So I learned that lesson watching that show. I was like, if I ever, and it doesn't matter if you're guilty or innocent, just no. Don't fucking talk to them unless you're talking to a lawyer first. Yeah, now some of the newer seasons, social media people be like, "You put that you were at this party on Facebook and that you saw Ronnie get killed." No. It's like, yeah, that's what you put. We have your Facebook right here. You know? But some of those first 48 are fucking depressing, man. So, you know. It's definitely a thing. Well, there you go. There was me yelling at the real people getting paid by Israel, then yelling at the fucking pro-war people today. I'll say this though. If something doesn't radically change, the person who's going to pay the biggest price is going to be Trump and his loved ones. They're going to bury him. Maybe quite literally. And it's a shame. I'm not rooting for that. I'm going to keep pushing people to go support Republicans, vote in the midterms. But I don't understand either side. I don't understand the people that just can't take a victory when they hear someone saying, I don't like the war. I don't particularly like Israel. Not enough. Why haven't you talked about the USS Liberty today? Why haven't you talked about, you didn't talk about this. You didn't talk about Mossad today. You didn't talk about Epstein today. It's like, all right, go fuck yourself. I think it's a 237. That's first. And then I don't understand the people. I understand the people that are like, I like this war. I get that. But I don't understand the people that don't understand why this is going to be unpopular with a lot of people. I don't understand it. And instead of being like, yeah, I get it. But here, listen. It's just like, what do you mean? What are we supposed to do? Okay. That's fine. Absolutely fine. And then shrug your shoulders when you lose and you're like, what happened? It wasn't my position's fault. Everyone should think what I like is super popular. CNN said Republicans 100% support it, which is a joke. It's not even Republicans are going to be the problem. It's going to be independents. And it's not even the war that's going to be the problem as much as the economic fallout. Or maybe it is Black James, but it isn't. And you hear these motherfuckers talk, so I'd rather pay a couple more cents for gas in the short term to get out of Iran. Okay. Most Americans disagree with that, just so you know. If you're going to do something that you knew was going to be very contentious, probably should have got key other parts of your agenda done first. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying, Eric. They should have pushed for domestic shit first. Tomorrow, I should be doing another episode of Law and Order, I think. And then afterwards, we're going to talk about John Thune and this fucking horse shit. Fucking last minute before vacation, Senate push to basically give the Democrats what they wanted. Fucking joke. I don't know what more there is to say. Spoiler alert, Thune doesn't like Trump. Trump don't get that. And so Trump's going to think Thune's his boy. Just like he thinks Lindsey Graham's his boy and Mark Levine's his boy. They're not. They're not. They hate him. They're happy he's giving them what they want now. And now he can go to the dustbin of history and then get someone that'll listen to him all the time like Jeb Bush. That's what they want. So, I think I owe Wade one whip song who generously donated $100. Oh, piss. So, show should start at 8 tomorrow. Oh, keep it quick. Kind of quick. All right.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Last says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more for. We are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Hey! We did it. We did it. I was reading Trump talking about Iran. Trump. Reporter, Leader Thune told me they don't have the votes to terminate the filibuster. Trump, but that's part of being a leader. You have to get the votes. Reporter, do you have confidence in Thune? Trump, I like him so much. He's a high-quality person. He told me the same thing. We don't have the votes. Well, he's only a couple of votes short. That's what being a leader, you have to get the votes. You have to get the votes. And if Democrats don't cheat, policy's so bad they never win another election. See? Trump likes Thune. What can you do? What can you do? Why should we lose sleep over the fact that the very people that are going to allow Trump to be thrown in prison are the people that Trump's like, I like him. Okay. What are you supposed to do? At some point, you're just like, man, I don't know how many times we could say it. You ran on draining the swamp, and your people you're listening to are the swamp. So, at some point, you just shrug your shoulders and say, hey, sucks. We will pay the consequence as a country, but Trump's going to pay them worse than us. So, he'll deal with it. All right. Let's see here. Who are we raiding tonight? Someone's on, surely. Sunday night.
Rachel Wilson's still on whatever podcast, going hard at it. I don't know if you want to do that.
Let's see if I have that saved. Yeah, that sounds fine. Why not? Oh, wait, Boggs, $50. Thank you so much. Who's going to get 13 for a whip song? Thank you. And then Chop Chop gives 20. All right, you schmohawks. Thank you, guys. Ooh. Country. I annoyed the piss out of my wife and her sister for 2 hours on the way back playing bluegrass music. It was nice. I enjoyed it very much. The Billy Strings.
Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the land says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a whip, where's a whip? Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where Bradley, 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 whip, there's a whip. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right, whip, 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 whip. Got the crack on the back, says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Oh, no freebies. That guy from Duke, he's not doing so hot. The guy that screwed the play up. You did it, bud. All right. We're going to raid over to, oh yeah, $50 to the goal. That's true. I'm supposed to do that shit. I was supposed to say, yeah, $50, we get our goal. I'll wait a couple minutes to see. But if you guys don't get to the goal tonight, that's okay. I'm not super pissed or anything. It's been a good week. Got to hang out with my family. Got to piss off my audience. It's always a win. The best part is Black Elk could literally clip tonight to be like, fuck the Neocons or fuck the, Jaceberg people. And everyone would hate me. It wouldn't matter. Jesse Marquez, look at that. $10. Thank you so much. There was a place called Moby Dick's where we were staying. And my son's really into sea monsters. Moby Dick's was looked like a Long John Silver or something. So he's really into sea monsters. And you see this picture of Moby Dick's, and it's just a big whale. And I was like, oh, Hank, Moby Dick's a sea monster. Maybe you've never heard of. And he's like, what is it? And I was like, it's this big white whale that, he bit off this guy's leg. And then this guy, just trying to hunt him and take out this whale. But he's too powerful. He, blows up all the boats. He's so strong. But, my son likes the Kraken. And he, there's the bloop. I don't know what the hell the bloop is. It's like a big fish. Right? And, the Hydra. He likes the Hydra. And so, Moby Dick, he's in that vein of, right? And he's like, what is it again? I said, it's a white whale. And he gets back. I shouldn't even tell this story. Later that night, he's talking to his mom about sea monsters. And he's like, the Kraken, Leviathan, and the white dick. And I was like, no! No! Moby Dick! So that was uncomfortable. It was like, no. Sweet Lord. It's like, okay, we're going to need to rename that sea monster. Moby Dick not working. No. It's amazing with kids, man. The shit that get taken out of context. Nope. And he just doesn't, it's funny with kids, they don't get it, right? Until your kid's 3, they don't understand the concept of why clothes matter. So you're home by yourself, your kid hops in the toilet, takes all his clothes off. Why can't you do that when we have guests? Because you can't. You can't do that. You have to have clothes. Like, it's really weird. It's the first time, as an only parent, now with a 5-year-old, never had a kid before. It's like, it's just stuff, for me, I'd take for granted. Like, you're 2, when there's people around, you got to have clothes on. Nope. Then I remember thinking back, there was like a public sandbox at this place we lived at when I was like 5 and my brother was 3. And my mom told me, I came running upstairs and was like, brother took all of his clothes off and he's just playing in the sandbox naked. So he's like 3 and my mom runs down. It's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I didn't want to get sand in my clothes. Which is a reasonable, but it's like, yeah, you can't do that. You cannot do that. All right. Well, folks, we're going to raid over to whatever. The great Rachel Wilson over there. I saw some of the debate she had yesterday with that lady. That lady did not sound good. So we're going to fall $40 short. Austin Hall wins tonight. Boo hiss. O'Brien has members only mode on. Well, then we're not going to do that. Let's find someone. You can feel free to go over. But instead, we will raid.
You got Mr. Bill and Teriak on lineup. We'll go Teriak. Why not? All right. Arena Man always says the opposite. All right, fine. We'll go with Mr. Bill. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Really appreciate it. It should be tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Law and Order episode. I think it's this week. Yeah. Not much to say other than that. Thanks to my friend Avers. Thanks to my editor, Black Elk. Thank you to everyone who donated. All of my mods who are tremendous. Thank you so much to everyone who chatted, liked, subscribed. You guys are the best. We are Vibranium. That's right. We could do anything. If ever you thought that there was a problem we couldn't solve, just head to AfroComic-Con. You'll see. All things are possible. Take a moment, just 1 minute out of your life, and think about the great Charlie Kirk, how he was assassinated. People mocked him and are continuing to mock him and his wife. And just what the stakes are. They'll kill you. They'll mock you. They'll mock your family. They don't give a shit. That's the future we hold if we give up this fight. So never forget what those consequences are. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. And as always, have a good one.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.